Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
And their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome into the Penny Clinical OT Bears Den. It is Monday, the biggest of Mondays. The first Monday since the start of Up-Tempo that college basketball is not playing today. They're not playing today. And the reason they're not is because this is March Madness. The Baylor Bears #1 seed, Hartford Hawks, round 1 on Friday. It is March.
It's upon us, baby. And the madness goes with the shades. Anyone who's not streaming this right now is missing out because we got the new, those are the Thunderbolt shades.
Oh, wow,
those are like the Matt Meyer little line in his head. He's got those on your shades. Good to be here, man. I was talking with you a year ago today. Just a couple of guys talking college basketball with our friends, and now we're talking about it with our friends still, but it's on the airwaves.
Today,
how about it?
For the first time in over 600 days, there are brackets, real brackets with real basketball teams on them. We never saw this last year. There was never a bracket last year. It was 2 years. It has been 2 years since the NCAA bracket has been released, and now Baylor, a 1 seed. And yeah, you're right. Look at us.
It's like seeing an old friend.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Right here on a year ago, we could have just sit up in our garage, done a little makeshift podcast. But this is not a podcast.
This is not a podcast. Contrary to popular belief, not a podcast.
Not a podcast.
No capes, no podcast.
No capes.
We don't do either of those.
254-339-1122. Phone lines are open. We are talking Baylor. I don't want to know how far can Baylor go. I know that Baylor can go to the Final Four. I know Baylor can go to the national championship. They can win the whole thing. They can. They can. I want to know, what will Baylor do? That's my question today. That's my question. If you had to put your odds after seeing the South on what Baylor will do this season or this postseason, what say you?
All things considered, I think that Baylor will go farther because they lost in the Big 12 tournament. We heard Mark Vital say, hey, we came in this tournament thinking we're the champions. Like, we thought we were hot stuff. We needed this loss. And a Baylor team that's on their game, a Baylor team that has a sense of urgency, that's a scary sight in the NCAA tournament. So without getting too much into it, I have Baylor winning my whole bracket. Again, I just took a first stab at it. I know you and I are probably going to take a few rounds at this thing.
This guy's a homer.
Baylor. Homer, I did not go to Baylor.
You did too.
I did not go to Baylor.
You did too.
I did not go to Baylor. I have no certificate from Baylor saying, hey, this guy completed his school here.
You didn't complete your school, really? Baylor, but you went there.
I went to Baylor for a semester of grad school. So if that makes me a homer, we can talk about it. But
makes you a homer?
Homer. Anyway, Baylor has they can go deep in this bracket, and I think they will based on their performance in the Big 12 tournament.
I got scared. I dropped my hot pocket. Hartford round 1. All right, here's the deal. Gonzaga and Appalachian State. I think App State may be the best 16 seed in this whole thing. Gonzaga got screwed by having to play App State round 1, that or Norfolk State. Moreover, Gonzaga cannot currently scout their opponent because they have no idea who they're going to play on night 1. Zero idea. They play the play-in winner of Norfolk State and Appalachian State. I think Baylor's in a perfect situation right now to have Hartford in round 1. Hartford, I am not scared of the Hartford Hawks remotely. If I'm Gonzaga, I'm a little leery. I'm taking Appalachian State plus the points. Hartford, Baylor opens a 26.5-point favorite, and I think they are doing Baylor dirty at 26.5. I'll take that all day, twice on Sunday. But after that, then you get to North Carolina, Wisconsin. Then you get to Winthrop. I think Winthrop is a Sweet 16 team this season. We're going to get into Cinderellas later,
Okay,
but I love Winthrop this season. Looking at the bottom side of that, Texas Tech. Baylor, Texas Tech in the Elite Eight, or Baylor and Arkansas in the Elite Eight. Florida's there. Ohio State. Here's the deal, though. Another one of these games. I think Oral Roberts gives Ohio State a run for their money. There are some really, really good matchups across the South, but I'll tell you this. It is a tough region if Baylor's going to make a Final Four.
You know who I like in the West? First round upset?
Gonzaga to win it all. Well,
First round upset. Grand Canyon over Iowa. Give it to me.
No.
Give me Bryce Drew and the boys over Luka Garza.
That's Luka.
He's already looking at NBA money. He's not worried about it. Jersey's retired. Give me Bryce Drew and the boys in the first round against Grand Canyon. You can book it. You can put your mortgage on it. Doesn't matter. Grand Canyon is a lock and a half. So more than just one lock. You get the whole half lock after that first lock.
For those of you that did not put your mortgage on Grand Canyon just now, put your mortgage on Iowa so that you don't lose your mortgage. You're really going Grand Canyon there.
You said put your mortgage on Iowa so you don't lose your mortgage. Okay.
Yeah, because Iowa's going to win.
But you could just keep your mortgage as is and not even risk your mortgage. You don't want to lose it.
We're forcing the people at home to risk
put your mortgage on one of them.
We are.
You can either quadruple your mortgage or probably keep your mortgage.
That's part of the show. We're forcing them to. Stephen from Virginia, immediate reaction on Baylor's placement in the South. North Carolina, Wisconsin, the winner of that one in round 2.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steven, what's up?
Sorry, my lunch break didn't quite meet up today. So I've only got a few minutes. But I got Baylor winning it all in my bracket. If you want to be safe, you can say Final Four. And I feel pretty confident in saying that. The teams I don't want to play in our region are Florida and North Carolina. And then partly because two of my best friends are Florida and North Carolina fans, and I don't want to hear it if we lose.
Steven, do you like North Carolina over Wisconsin?
I hope not, because I really don't want to have to deal with that game. But yes, I do. And the last thing I'll say before I get off here real quick is I'm sorry I roasted you so hard, Drake, because when my mom saw my brand new gold sweatpants, she roasted me about 10 times harder. But you know what? We voted on this poll, and 11 out of 18 people said we're keeping them. So it's a good day. I'll catch you later.
Steven from Virginia, Bear games? He's gone. Wow.
I think he was on a tight squeeze.
It was a very frantic run.
It was good, though.
Yeah.
There's some good insight.
I thought it sounded like he was running, like some kind of a marathon, maybe.
It was moving. He gives his heart and soul to this program, man. Talk about a guy that loves the program.
How about a little T-Rex action? T-Rex, La Dinosaura, calling in on Monday morning talking Baylor men's basketball.
That's bad.
Hey, gentlemen. Obviously, I'm going to take Baylor to the Final Four. I would say Final Four because, in my opinion, we don't make the Final Four this year, then it's a complete bust in my mind. We have the team to do it. We didn't get to do it last year. Granted, that wasn't anyone's fault, but China's, because China didn't want Baylor to win the national championship. It's a conspiracy.
Checks out.
That's fair.
But Final Four banner, that's what matters. I mean, Tech doesn't win conference championships, but somehow they get recruits because they have a Final Four banner. Final Fours matter. We get there, then we'll worry about the next game. So let's get to the Final Four. I have us going all the way to the Final Four for sure. Bracket overall, I don't follow college basketball that closely, outside of Baylor, but everything looks fair except for Oklahoma State. I will go out and say that they got completely screwed. They should not be a 4 seed. They should be at least a 3, if not even a 2. Maybe that's pushing it, but they definitely deserve a better seed than what they got. But hey, I don't pick it. Doesn't matter. Hopefully they're not so mad about their seeding that they go on some crazy run and we have to play them again. But who knows what happens if you get to play a team 4 times in a year. Things happen. I do think this team's ready to rock and roll. I don't see a repeat of, I believe it was 2016. Can't exactly remember, 2015, 2016 when we were lost to Yale, and then lost to whoever the heck that other team was that following year or the year before that. So I think we have what it takes. I think this team, after that loss, like Bill said, it is a good thing that they got that loss out of their system. Now we just have to win, every time. Just keep winning in advance. So this team's ready to eat. They're ready to win. These seniors are ready to go out. These guys that, Jared Butler may or may not come back, probably won't come back, but who knows? But what better way to influence a decision than to win a national championship? So, the staff is hungry. And, hey, bold prediction, Baylor versus Grand Canyon at some point in the season. I don't remember if they're opposite side of the bracket or not, but how awesome would it be to be Drew versus Drew in the Final Four?
It would be Baylor Grand Canyon in the national championship.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah, there we go.
It's March.
But I wasn't 100% sure how awesome would that be. From just multiple aspects of the fact that Grand Canyon makes it the Final Four would be crazy in itself.
I would love that.
But Drew versus Drew, who do you cheer for? We're cheering for our Drew. And I would say very mean things about his brother because, hey, he ain't a Baylor Bear. But SicEm Bears, hey, it's March, man. So let's get it on. And if we make the Final Four, I'll see you there.
Hey.
Can't wait.
T-Rex, Bear Games question of the day. Two of them. Number one, who is your Cinderella in this tournament? Have you seen a single team that you look at and you go, all right, they're going to be dangerous?
North Texas, why not?
I actually like their first round matchup. I think North Texas is in there. I like North Texas and Oral Roberts to both be scary in round one. And those are Scott Drew coaching tree teams.
Both of them are from the Scott Drew coaching tree.
Yep.
Hope we don't have to play either of them.
And then T-Rex, my question for you, and this applies any year, because any year anybody can lose in round one. Virginia proved that against UMBC. Would you rather win the NIT, champions of the NIT, or lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament?
As a school, as a fan of a school who has won the NIT, I would say, hey, and I think we've lost the first round too.
Oh, yeah. Twice.
Hey, you may only be the 69th best team in the nation, but you're still champion. You don't get a trophy for losing the first round. You get a trophy for winning the NIT and the banner. So I'll take the NIT. It's not embarrassing. Who knows why you didn't get in? It could have been just luck of the draw. But there is no question about why you lost in the first round. You lost. The other team scored more points than you, and they shouldn't have. So I will take an NIT victory over a first round loss all day.
Wow. T-Rex, thanks for your call.
That's good.
Hey, thank you. Y'all are beautiful. SicEm Bears.
Thanks, T-Rex.
Yeah, that guy. What a
flattering.
cutie.
That was very
flattering.
flattering.
That was good. Here's the deal.
Talk to me.
Baylor, North Carolina, or Wisconsin round two. I've heard from a couple of different people now that, this is a Wisconsin team that was ranked top 25 not long ago. They're good. They're solid at basketball. North Carolina is one of the hottest teams in the country.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous round two matchup.
Yeah.
However, I would much rather have North Carolina, Wisconsin 8-9 than I would Oklahoma, Missouri. I think Gonzaga got slided with App State round one, but I think they got even more slided with Oklahoma, senior laden. Sure, they're kind of cold right now, but OU could have easily been a 7 seed. They would have been a 7 seed had they ended up beating Kansas in the which they got so close in the Big 12 tournament. But Oklahoma, I think, beats Missouri, and then you got Brady Manick and Austin Reeves that are going to give Gonzaga trouble because it's an old team. If there's a team that's going to be able to put up with Gonzaga, it's a team that has experience.
No, I'm right there with you. I have Oklahoma beating Missouri, then I have Oklahoma beating Gonzaga in that very next game. I think Gonzaga doesn't. Let me double check my bracket.
Armstrong,
I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that.
This guy's crazy.
Some might even say a little bit mad.
Would you
say I'm a little bit mad, Armstrong, as it is March? Would you not agree? But
I would agree.
Yeah, all things considered, this Gonzaga team, they haven't played anybody. They haven't had to play anybody. They haven't had to play anybody in a very long time. I should say. So Gonzaga hasn't had to play back-to-back full games against real competition. Their starters are resting by the second half. So I think that's really going to come back to bite them, especially in that second round against a tough Oklahoma team. Even if they draw Missouri, they're in a tough spot in terms of what they've had to do competition-wise. But I'm with you. I think they really have a tough matchup. UNC scares me a little bit, though. UNC does scare me a little bit.
Believe it or not, Jay Billis has picked his Final Four. I believe it. It includes Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and Illinois. What are the odds that 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed all make the Final Four?
That's like all experts have been doing that.
A lot of experts have Gonzaga too.
They have
Why
Gonzaga, they have Baylor, they have Illinois, and then they have like either Alabama or Texas.
I have seen. Nobody's hot on Michigan. Nobody likes Michigan right now. Same thing as last year, though. Michigan dropped off the table. Baylor and Michigan both kind of dropped off the table there late last season. I was really worried about Baylor going into the NCAA tournament last year. Really worried.
They weren't hot. I'm trying to pull up my bracket to tell you.
They were not hot. They were not hot.
I like Bama a lot, though, too. But why is Gonzaga like such the muse this year? I get the number 1 overall seed.
Well, they have 3 of the best players in college.
But are we that? But look at their bracket. Look who have to go through to get to the Final Four. A lot of people have them winning the whole thing. Like I watched the selection show. 3 of the guys have them winning the whole dang thing. Like, are they that good? Are we sure?
Yeah.
Are we sold on them?
I have not seen somebody pick Baylor as a national champion yet. I haven't seen the experts pick Baylor, which I don't want that. Don't pick us as a national champion.
That's fine.
Want that pressure.
We've got G-Dub on the Impact Health Labs caller line. G-Dub, welcome on to Up Tempo.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, G-Dub? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, guys. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and just jump into the one Bear Games question.
Yeah.
But the lower seed upset. Watch out for Liberty against Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
that could be dangerous too.
Liberty's good.
The 13-4 matchup is always one that you find either 1 or 2 every year in upset.
I like it.
I like the 13-4, Gita. I know you like the tweet. I like the 13-4 matchup this year to be a lot more dangerous even than the 12-5, although I have a couple 12-5 upsets in here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What about Cleveland State and Houston? I like that a lot.
Yeah, what else you got, G-Dub?
Oh, yeah. And then I've got a question for y'all. If y'all could pick one center that we've had from the past, like in these last couple of years, like Freddie or Motley, who would you pick on this team to be a perfect fit?
So we could add him into the lineup? Is that?
Yes.
Oh, I like Isaiah Austin right off the bat.
I like Freddie.
Freddie's good, but Isaiah Austin gives you. I'm not sure what was Freddie averaging last year.
I don't know.
I mean, was he a threat to score the ball quite as much? I think Isaiah Austin gave you a lot in the rebound game.
Man,
yeah.
Look at Freddie's stats. I'm missing Freddie big time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Freddie was quick and nimble, but Freddie couldn't put up or shut up in the post, you know? Like, he had some really good post moves, but if you got like Udoka Azubuike ran through him. I want somebody that can't be run through. I want Zach Loveday, but like on not steroids, because that's illegal.
Maybe Quincy Acey too? He's a presence.
Here's mine. It's Big Joe, the Achuel.
Oh, shoot. I think the size matchup there, you're probably got a better, you got to probably, I think, Big Joe, but if I'm going modern,
I like,
what about Tristan Clark?
Colt says Ekpe Udoh is the only answer.
Udoh?
Really?
Yeah.
What about Torian Prince? Torian Prince is a scorer.
Prince is
Torian
good.
Prince will give you some buckets.
Listen, if we go back to healthy Tristan Clark, when Tristan Clark was like first team All-American caliber player once upon a time, who's still on the roster, I would love to see how Tristan Clark plays into this. Oh, imagine if he was at full health this season. Oh, he was so good when he was healthy. Oh, G-Dub's just humming.
Armstrong seems to be having a...
I broke Armstrong and G-Dub.
He's from the San Antonio area. Him and Alyssa Smith from the San Antonio area, so I've got extra stock in those guys.
Yeah. Well, so G-Dub, who did you say you go with the big man, Big Joe?
Oh yeah.
All right, Big Joe locking it in.
He can get you a bucket and he'll send you back.
So
we need both.
We do. Honestly, though, Flo Thamba had a good game. The blocks were there against Oklahoma State. The blocks were there. G-Dub, would you rather win the NIT, champions of the NIT, or would you rather win the NIT or lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, but you made the tournament?
NIT for sure, because you can because even if you're in the NIT, you can have a young team and you can start building culture, which is what Scott Drew did with those early teams. He started building the culture that he has now.
Get more games,
and we're seeing and we're seeing like all the recruits that we're getting because of said culture.
That's fair.
G-Dub, then your Cinderella. Who'd you say your Cinderella was? Liberty?
Yeah.
What do you like about that Liberty team, too?
They can shoot it.
That's true.
I watched a couple of their conference tournament games, and oh my God, they can shoot it.
And Liberty's going to be tough matchup. G-Dub, thanks for calling, man.
Yes, sir.
You're the man, G.
Always good to hear from you. I'm Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims. When we come back, we're picking our Cinderellas. And who is the national champion with this bracket? That, when we come back. This is Up Tempo.
It's officially time for March Madness as all 68 teams are set and headed to Indianapolis. With the Baylor Bears, the 1 seed in the South region, meet the 16-seed Hartford Hawks on Friday at 2:30. Outside of Baylor, the Big 12 had a nation's best 70% of teams make the big dance, with Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, and Oklahoma State joining Baylor as 4 seeds or higher. On the women's side, the Lady Bears are conference tournament champions again after a 76-50 drubbing of West Virginia and Kansas City. Kim Mulkey and company await their bracket release that takes place tonight. In baseball, the Bears have done it again. Baylor has notched 8 straight victories after sweeping a 3-game series against Xavier with a run differential of 28-7 combined. In softball, the Lady Bears are red hot after sweeping a 4-game tournament at Grand Canyon University and knocking off number 9 Arizona State 7-2 in Tempe. Baylor has now won 11 of its last 12. In track, Casey Lightfoot cements his name as the best indoor pole vaulter in NCAA history after winning an indoor national championship in Fayetteville. Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller also won individual national titles in their respective events over the weekend. And the women's tennis team opened up conference play with a 7-0 win over West Virginia. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84, and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrapped fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrapped fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I am Drake Toll. That's J.D. Pickell. Armstrong Sims. It is Monday. Not just Monday, though. Music Monday. Big Monday. Crazy Monday. Bracket Monday, if you will.
Badness Monday.
Welcome into Up Tempo. All right.
Monday Badness. It's upon us.
Dance with Cinderella. You know that song, Armstrong? You don't know that song. What an upset. Speaking of upsets, Cinderellas. In this year's March Madness, ESPN has put out their top 10 list for Cinderellas. Let's take a walk.
Let's take a
little stroll. Let's take a little stroll through.
Put on some shoes?
I already have shoes on. I got some glass ones.
Oh, wait, is that Stephen Curtis Chapman?
Put on some glass slippers?
It is Stephen Curtis Chapman. I get it. Glass slippers. Yeah. Cinderella.
We got time. It's not midnight yet. It's not midnight yet.
I got time.
I got time.
Gonzaga, App State. App State absolutely covers.
Are you going to go through the entire tournament? You're going to walk through every game.
Upset.
Everybody get comfortable.
Everyone's an upset. All right. First upset off the board. 12 seed UC Santa Barbara over Creighton. Creighton was flopping towards the end of the year. Creighton got blown out by Georgetown. I love UCSB 12 over 5 Creighton.
Is that the list, or that's just what you're feeling?
That's what I'm feeling.
Okay, I like it.
That's what I'm feeling.
I like it a lot.
We're gonna go tit for tat here.
Okay.
I'm gonna give one, and you're gonna give one.
Okay. Well, in terms of first one off the board, I already mentioned Grand Canyon, which a little bit of a homer pick, obviously with the Drew last name.
Homer Drew.
Homer Drew, baby. But honestly, all things considered, Iowa, I think, is one of those teams that just fits the mold of a team that could bust in that first round, with Luka Garza being, National Player of the Year. We always see someone like that in the first round take an early exit. Grand Canyon, obviously well coached. I think there's a good shot for that. If there were to be a 15-2, I like that. I also like. I guess I'll hold my breath on that one because we got another one for you.
UCSB over Creighton is the first one I like. Okay. I'm going right past that. I really like what Ohio brings to the table against against Virginia. Ohio's hot. They just beat a Buffalo team that I thought would be in this bracket securely. And then they routed Buffalo. Ohio is hot. Virginia does not impress me very much this season. I think the 4 seed UVA is in hot water against Ohio.
I like that. How about Cleveland State and Houston? Houston has let us down more than once. They've shown they're an inconsistent team. They lost to, Eastern Carolina earlier this year, so they've had slumps, or they've had slip-ups, 24-3 on the year. But Cleveland State, we've seen them make some madness before in this bracket. I think 2009 is when they had their little run and made some noise in the tournament. I think they do it again. They're an experienced team in that regard. Cleveland State over Houston. So another 2 over 15 seed in the Midwest part of the bracket. I think that's potentially going to be, if nothing else, at least a good game. But I think Cleveland State might just pull off the upset.
The experts say that to be a great Cinderella, what do you have to do? You have to slow the game down. You have to play your pace, control the pace, and that's how you do it. I don't agree with some of the. I think some of these you'll find teams like Colgate against Arkansas. They're going to really press the issue and really like if the team that the lower seed puts up 90. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Anybody putting up 90, you're going to struggle to beat. That's why I love the Eastern Washington-Kansas matchup. Kansas just lost their big man. Kansas is going to Indianapolis without a big man. They don't have a single good big man that is going to play on the court in Indianapolis. Eastern Washington is not a very big team, but they play fast. They play heavy. They shoot the ball really, really well. I love Eastern Washington.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned it, shooting, right? Like, if you're shooting the ball well, that's the deal. Like, it's hard to defend a team that just can't miss from beyond the arc. We saw Cornell in 2009, I think it was, 2010. They made a run at it because they were just shooting the lights out. Like, they beat a good Temple team. Obviously ran out of luck when they played John Wall in Kentucky. But when it comes down to it, shooting is the big difference. We talked about it during break. Colgate and Arkansas should be a fun one just to see if Colgate can have enough firepower to get past the Pigs in the first round. I think that's another one I'm keeping an eye on with a 14/3 seed. Not going to pick it, but I think that's a potential one.
You like Colgate?
I like them. I don't have them picked in my bracket in this preliminary one, but I think Colgate with the offensive output, like we mentioned, if they can shoot the ball well, like that's the thing. If it's your day, and we've seen it be many a team's day during March with a lower seed, if you can shoot well, especially from beyond the arc, and just be able to have that answer for a big boy like Arkansas, I think there's a good shot they can get it done.
How about I want to give you this too. So we've got Kansas 3 seed in the West. Jayhawks had to withdraw from the Big 12 tournament. They were already missing David McCormick, Tristan Inara, and Naruna. You know what?
Doesn't matter. We know.
So McCormick could join the team. Okay. McCormick could join the team later in the week in Indianapolis. Colt Barber sent me a text. 3 Kansas players will not travel for NCAA tournament due to COVID-19, per the Associated Press. But also maybe they will. I don't know.
Yeah, see, how are we going to treat it? Because I think they have to have 7 days of negative tests, right? So if you're looking at the tournament being in 5 days now? No, less than that, 4 days. How are you going to get 7 days of clean tests before the tournament even starts? Especially if you're Kansas. Like, I mean, are you not worried about playing a team like Kansas? Like, think if Kansas plays Eastern Washington somehow wins that game with the shorthanded Kansas team, but Eastern Washington gets a positive COVID test, they can't play the next round. Cinderella story is already done. How does that work?
So, yeah, it looks like he hopes to have the full roster at some point, but those guys might not play. Those guys might not play in the first round. So, but here's what I got. Here's what I want to do. I want to talk you guys off the ledge here with some teams that could be possible upsets. Wichita State and Drake. The winner of that one plays USC. Folks at home are going, it's Wichita State. Of course they're going to win. It's March.
Or Drake.
They barely snuck in. And they go, it's Drake.
It is
This Drake team's good. Stop. Guys, USC has one of the best young talents in the country. They're a good team. They have not met their maximum potential yet. I think USC is going to be fine. I don't see that as a first-round matchup. Lock in them winning round one. Another one, St. Bonaventure and LSU. People really love the Bonnies right now.
I do.
I have been on the Bonnie train, okay? I like St. Bonaventure. Lock in LSU.
Yep.
LSU went tit for tat with Alabama. I think they're going to be just fine.
They're good defensively.
They're great defensively. They can score at a high rate if they need to. Colorado and Georgetown. Everybody, after the whole Patrick Ewing thing, Cinderella, dance with Cinderella. Stephen Curtis Chapman. We're going to get copyrighted.
If we're lucky.
Everybody loves the Cinderella Georgetown story from the Big East. I don't think Georgetown is going to win a single game in the East.
Really? I have them in the first round.
Colorado's so much more athletic than Georgetown. I know it's a 12-5, the dreaded 12-5. Lock it in right now. Colorado beats Georgetown round one. You know who doesn't win round one?
I disagree with you there.
Florida State falling to UNC Greensboro.
Really?
UNC Greensboro, a 13 over. I love the 13-4 matchups this season. I think UNC Greensboro is going to knock off Florida State round one. I love UNCG this season.
I'm going to flip the argument with you saying Georgetown is not nearly as athletic as Colorado. In the same breath, Florida State is substantially more athletic than Greensboro. So where do you make the differentiation there?
I make the differentiation in that I think Colorado has is more athletic than Georgetown.
Right.
To the point where it makes a substantial difference. Okay.
So you think, okay.
I think UNC Greensboro, from a guard standpoint especially, can go tit for tat with Florida State from an athleticism standpoint, especially the way they play their pace of play too. And I don't think Florida State is as athletic as you would expect from an ACC school like they are.
Florida State's hot.
They're
hot.
They're really not that hot.
They are. They just won the ACC tournament.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
They lost to Georgia Tech.
Oh, no, excuse me. Okay, they're marginally hot. They're warm. They're lukewarm.
They're warm. They are lukewarm. They lost to Notre Dame by 10, too.
They beat UNC by 3.
Okay. Maryland as a 10 seed on top of 7 UConn. I think UConn's a phony. I think UConn's a phony. That's a possibility. Baylor, Hartford, nah. Wisconsin, I think Wisconsin is a 9 over North Carolina. Is very possible. I've heard a lot of people that love Wisconsin. That love Wisconsin.
How much stock are you putting into conference here? How much stock are you putting into the Big Ten versus, an ACC school, or Big 12 versus an SEC school? Like, how much does that matter in your mind when picking this bracket? Because I'm looking at Maryland and UConn. I'm thinking Maryland's had to go through the gauntlet this year.
How about the Big East is good?
They're good, but I don't think they've had to play nearly what Maryland's had to play, in my opinion.
Outside of that, here's what's crazy. This is the South. This is where Baylor is. I've got upsets. Winthrop over Villanova.
Interesting.
Villanova's short of Colin Gillespie. Winthrop shoots the crap out of the basketball. They're 23-1. They're dangerous. You know who else I like? You know who disappoints me every March Madness? They come in with big Isaac Haas, and I'm like, here comes the mighty Purdue, the fighting Matt Painters. They're going to go to the Final Four. Every year, I love Purdue. And you know what they do? They crap all over. They lay an egg. They lost to University of Arkansas at Little Rock in one of my favorite bracket upsets of all time, and I think they're going to lose round 1 in North Texas. We're going to see a matchup between North Texas and Winthrop.
Interesting.
In the second round, because that is a 12 seed over a 5 and a 13 over a 4, and they're both going to end up happening.
See, I can't agree with you. I think Nova plays inspired losing Gillespie. I think Jay Wright and coaching matters
but they didn't. They didn't in the Big East tournament. They didn't play. They didn't.
Chips are in. I'm telling you, it's March Madness. Baby.
It was March when they lost the Big East tournament.
Is it the NCAA tournament or no?
Is it the
NCAA tournament or no?
This is, yes.
So chips are in. Jay Wright and the boys get it done. I think Brand matters.
What do you think? Winthrop's just going to roll over the Eagles?
I didn't say they're going to roll over. I think Nova wins, though. I think Villanova wins.
Why?
I was actually explaining that, if you wouldn't mind me finishing.
Right, you said they play inspired basketball.
Can I speak? You asked me on point. Can I speak? Jay Wright, better coach. I think they play inspired basketball with a chance to regroup in the NCAA tournament. I think they beat a team like Winthrop. I think Brand matters in March. I think Purdue and Villanova both get it done.
If Brand matters in March, Baylor's losing round 2, period.
I said in this matchup, Brand matters in March.
This matchup only. Yes. In this matchup, well,
I think it matters in March. I didn't say you're going to win. If that were the case, Duke could be playing for this thing. Kentucky every year.
I will take your Jay Wright argument, and I will raise you a Pat Kelsey, head coach of the Fighting Winthrop Eagles. They're not even the Fighting Eagles. I added the fighting part.
They're going to be fighting. They're going to have to fight against Villanova.
And they're going to fight. I love Winthrop. Villanova's hurt.
I could see one of those. I don't think they get both of those.
Really? It's March, though. You also had 15 seed GCU knocking off the best player in the country.
Absolutely, I do. 100%, baby. It's March.
Listen, here's the best argument you could have made for Villanova beating Winthrop.
Talk to me.
Is that there is no argument.
That doesn't sound like a very good argument.
But there doesn't have to be in March. You can just say, I just think this team's going to beat the other.
What are we doing here on the show, folks?
You know, but you see what I'm saying? You see, there doesn't have to be any logic.
I'm totally with you.
Most years, the upsets don't have any logic.
Totally with you.
Iowa State losing to... Shoot, I saw it. It wasn't Hartford. So this is Hartford's first tournament. It's a year ago today. Iowa State lost to 15 seed Hampton.
Right.
That's a 15 and a 2 upset. I mean, there's no logic to that.
Or Yale over Baylor. Who picked Yale over Baylor?
20 years ago today.
Maybe Yale
Georgia
grads.
State.
I did.
People
did you
love
really?
Georgia State over Baylor too.
Did you pick Yale over Baylor, really?
Yeah.
No kidding. How come? Just because?
That was back before my Baylor days, if I'm remembering correctly. I actually hated Baylor.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was a hard pick
sometime.
It was a hard pick.
Okay.
Yeah, we can get into how I really disliked Baylor before I came here.
No way.
We can get into that another
time. They won you over.
Yeah, we can't.
They definitely won me over.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. It is. Oh, yeah. So Indiana's going after Scott Drew, apparently.
Good luck.
Because they fired Archie Miller.
Good luck. Well, not actually.
They need to go get Wes Miller.
That's
UNC Greensboro. That's what they need.
Oh, UNCG. Yeah.
That's what they need. That's who they need.
What's Billy Donovan doing these days?
What is Billy Donovan
Rick
doing?
Pitino.
They might go Pitino. Pitino's in the tourney. Iona, 15 seed. Also, you've got Chris Beard is in the conversation. I don't think Chris Beard's leaving Tech. Chris Beard can win anywhere.
Isn't he a Tech grad, though?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
You know where Chris Beard got his start coaching? Where he got his big break? University of Arkansas Little Rock. Same team I was just talking about that knocked off Purdue.
Was he the
I'm
coach?
pretty sure.
Head coach
I'm pretty sure Chris Beard turned down the UCLA job, which to me, the UCLA and Indiana job are kind of comparable.
I don't remember.
I think UCLA is a better job. If you want to talk about living situation
and history.
Living situation, interesting. Yeah.
I mean, you want to live in LA? You want to live in Bloomington, Indiana?
I'd honestly rather live in Bloomington, but I'm rare.
Stop.
I'm a rare breed, bro.
You are rare.
He's a special one.
One of a
Okay,
kind.
more Cinderellas here. Utah State, Texas Tech. I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup. I like what Texas Tech brings to the table, but Mac McClung, he is both Texas Tech's greatest savior and biggest enemy.
You're so right.
He is
now we're matching up.
both of those things.
Now we got the chemistry going, baby. Yeah, Mac McClung. They live and die by the McClung. And will that loss to Texas in the Big 12 tournament, will that carry over into the NCAA tournament? We're going to see. But if Mac McClung's off, Texas Tech does not have a shot.
Texas past that. The Arkansas-Colgate, I don't like the Arkansas-Colgate debate. I think that could be a high-scoring game, like a 97-92, but I think Arkansas escapes it just because they have the SEC caliber. Tech, I think it's highway robbery. They're a 9 seed. That shows me they wouldn't have made the tournament had they not won the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
I think Georgia Tech, it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tough game.
Having run the table in the ACC tournament, I'm with you. I think they're just hot enough to get it done. It'll be close when they get it done.
Listen, Jim Boeheim.
No.
Round 1 against San Diego State. Better watch out. Jim Boeheim's coming in full throttle.
I think they get it done. I have them winning. You have them winning?
Jim Boeheim's putting the foot on the gas. Left lane, hammer down. He is speeding.
Not checking the blind spot.
Jim Boeheim is speeding through March Madness. I'm talking no holds bar.
The 2-3 zone does a lot.
Eyes closed.
Does a lot.
He's just hands off the steering wheel, hammering the gas. Jim Boeheim on top of San Diego State round 1. That's another upset. And then, I love the 14 over the 3. I love the 14 over the 3. So my last one that I'm really looking at heavy is Morehead State over West Virginia.
Really? You think they beat West Virginia?
I think there could be 3 14 seeds that win. I think there could be 3 14 seeds that win. I could be very, very wrong, but I think there's 3.
I have more trouble getting on board with the West Virginia argument, kind of because of Huggy Bear. I think Huggy Bear in March, round 1, disappointing performance in the Big 12 tournament. I think they find a way to bounce back and get it done in the first round. I don't see them losing the first round.
I'm Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims. When we come back, we're breaking things down on the Baylor side. How far will Baylor go? And we're playing Music Monday. This is Up Tempo.
It's officially time for March Madness as all 68 teams are set and headed to Indianapolis, with the Baylor Bears, the 1 seed in the South region, meet the 16 seed Hartford Hawks on Friday at 2:30. Outside of Baylor, the Big 12 had a nation's best 70% of teams make the big dance, with Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, and Oklahoma State joining Baylor as 4 seeds or higher. On the women's side, the Lady Bears are conference tournament champions again after a 76-50 drubbing of West Virginia and Kansas City. Kim Mulkey and company await their bracket release that takes place tonight. In baseball, the Bears have done it again. Baylor has notched 8 straight victories after sweeping a 3-game series against Xavier with a run differential of 28-7 combined. In softball, the Lady Bears are red hot after sweeping a 4-game tournament at Grand Canyon University and knocking off number 9 Arizona State 7-2 in Tempe. Baylor has now won 11 of its last 12. In track, Casey Lightfoot cements his name as the best indoor pole vaulter in NCAA history after winning an indoor national championship in Fayetteville. Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller also won individual national titles in their respective events over the weekend. And the women's tennis team opened up conference play with a 7-0 win over West Virginia. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I am Drake Toll. That's J.D. Pickell. Armstrong Sims. And today we're breaking down for the first time in 2 years what the NCAA Tournament March Madness bracket looks like. And guess who is at the very top of all of it? There's a little bit of Baylor Bear action.
Baylor Bears. First #1 seed. Is this school history?
School history.
First time in the history of the whole school. And guess what? We got an up-tempo, baby.
School's been around for a long time.
School's been around since 1845.
1845. And today is the first day that Baylor has had a 1 seed. Were you nervous for the selection show?
I wasn't. I mean, in what sense? Like who Baylor was going to draw first round, or just the bracket as a whole?
Just in general.
I wasn't super nervous. I saw you tweet something about that.
I was super nervous.
And where was that stemming from?
I don't know. Armstrong, were you nervous as the selection show for the selection show? Really?
Well, you know what we're anxious about shows what we truly care about. So you just care a lot.
I care a lot.
The guy cares.
I was nervous about who we got. I was really nervous about Baylor's draw. I say we loosely, Baylor.
Sure.
I go to Baylor. I can say we.
Yeah,
right?
we can say we, right? We're Baylor-centric show.
Yeah. So basically, you've got Baylor, Hartford, round 1, which we're working right now to get a Hartford guest on this week. Kendall Couch joins the show later on today. On top of that, Matthew Postins comes on. Okay. Right now, with Baylor's draw in the NCAA tournament, we've already talked. I think Baylor is going to see if Baylor makes it out of the round of 32, which North Carolina, growing up an Arkansas fan, North Carolina has ruined my dreams on multiple occasions where UNC beat Arkansas and they shouldn't have in 2 different tournaments, okay? I think North Carolina ends up beating Wisconsin from a gut feeling standpoint. I haven't looked at that game very much, but also Baylor and North Carolina it still scares me.
It scares me athletically too, and Armstrong talked about it even before we got to this point in the season. North Carolina is playing their best basketball around right now. Obviously, didn't win the ACC tournament, but in terms of what they have talent-wise and the way that they're trending, North Carolina could give Baylor a whole lot of problems. Now, I'm not nervous about that game for Baylor. Excuse me. I should say I'm not thinking Baylor's going to lose that game. I think they'll give them a run for their money. I think it'll be a good game. I think Baylor will end up winning that one. But as a whole, that matchup makes me nervous from an athletic standpoint. And if they're shooting, man, this goes for any team in the bracket. If their shooting is on that day, all bets are off. It's just madness at that point. Pun intended.
March Madness?
Pun intended.
I think Baylor gets past North Carolina. Yep. Then at that point, I tweeted it the other day and said that I don't see a team coming out of this and being a Wichita State in 11. I don't see a team I don't see a Loyola Chicago or Wichita State in the South. Jay Billis called the South the name brand bracket.
That's fair.
Baylor, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Villanova, Purdue, Texas Tech, Arkansas to an extent, Florida, Virginia Tech to an extent, Ohio State. Those teams are all pretty good basketball names, historically especially. These are some really good basketball schools historically. I think that's what makes me think there won't be an LIU that comes out of this thing or a really good, lower seed team. But I think Baylor runs into a double-digit seed school in the Sweet 16. I think they're scouting and preparing to play a Winthrop or North Texas even in the Sweet 16. I'm more confident in Purdue beating North Texas than I am Villanova beating Winthrop. But I think Baylor could end up seeing a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16. And then the question becomes, are you almost more scared to play that team than you would be Villanova?
Truly, I'm not. I don't think they're scouting either of these teams yet just because Scott Drew, I think, is worried about Hartford and maybe North Carolina or Wisconsin. I could see why that would be concerning, especially with it being March, having a Cinderella-esque team like Winthrop, like North Texas. If they're hot, right? And if they're on a tear, it's like when they get the superstar, right? In all the Mario Brothers games, they're just kind of unbeatable. All that considered, I think Baylor plays enough team basketball they would match up with one of those teams well, assuming they're shooting well, assuming that they're just kind of having their kind of season. My biggest thing with Baylor is we haven't seen them have a loss that doesn't make sense. What I mean by that is they lost to Kansas after their second game off COVID, right? That's tough to win, especially when you're not athletically where you need to be on the road. That's a tough game. Didn't match up very well with Kansas either. They lost to Oklahoma State after having beat them twice. Cole Barber said it on the show, I think it was last Friday. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, especially when you have, by a lot of accounts, the number 1 NBA draft pick that you're up against, and he already got to see you 1 time. So in my mind, I feel really confident about Baylor if they're playing a team for the first time. I don't think these teams are going to be able to match up with them. I think a Baylor at full strength has the depth and the talent, especially if they're shooting well and their bench is playing well, it's a wrap. Those are a lot of variables, but I think their talent and their depth alone should be enough to carry them to at least the Final Four, like a lot of our callers are saying.
I think if Baylor goes to the Final Four, they go to the national championship game. I can't guarantee you that Baylor wins the national championship. I tweeted out that, and someone was like, oh, this is just a hot take for a hot take. And to an extent, I was in the shower, and it came to me, it dawned on me. Gonzaga, Michigan, Illinois, Gonzaga, Michigan, Illinois, Baylor, and
it was Iowa, I think you said as well.
Iowa. Those 5 teams are not going to win a national championship. That just feels like that's how this March is going to go. And I don't think that this season is lost on anyone if Baylor doesn't end up winning a national championship whatsoever. But yes, Iowa, Michigan, Illinois, Gonzaga, Baylor. I don't think that those 5 teams win a title. It just feels like that year where somebody else does it. And it doesn't have to be that random. Like an Alabama wins it. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if Alabama ends up winning it. Or, Ohio State gets hot at the right time. Or like a Clemson just comes in and wrecks everybody's world. This is the year for that to happen. The COVID year, this is the year for that to happen.
See, I almost think the opposite. I think in this year with COVID, some of the teams that are better coached, some of the teams that have the talent, maybe I think it plays to them even more. So I think at that point, maybe you're feeling a little more confident because you have the upper hand in the sense that you were I think the gap could be potentially wider. We saw it in college football with Alabama and Ohio State really being able to run the table, which from a talent standpoint. So all things considered, I think it could go both ways, and that's why I like Baylor. That's why I like Illinois. Not as high on Gonzaga for other reasons, but as a whole, I think the 1 and 2 seed, like you mentioned, Alabama could be a team to watch. But I actually have Virginia making a run just from brand alone and coaching alone. I think they have a chance to make some noise as well.
They could. I think they're in an okay spot to do it too. All right, call us 254-339-1122. We're playing Music Monday. Not yet. We're not. You have like 2 minutes to call us. I always drop the ball on this. I'm sorry.
No,
I always like tell people to
it.
call in with like 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to call in.
No,
clock starts now. McGruber. Call in now. 254-339-1122. You know it. McGruber. What?
Nothing.
Okay. Scotty B, the Baylor King.
Done and done.
Wow. Says, I heard Virginia men's basketball has half of their team, or a little more than half, with contact tracing, besides positives. So my advice, have them lose in the first round or second round.
Interesting.
I think they may get their whole team like Friday. They're like going to fly them in and play.
Interesting.
So Virginia's going to be tough.
Didn't
Virginia,
know that.
First round, Ohio, too. Also, Kansas men's basketball without the same 2 players of the Big 12 tournament, an additional player who tested positive recently. We don't know the additional player. They won't be traveling to start, by the way, for Kansas, so they may come back. Scotty B says, I believe Baylor will go to the Final Four to a national title, even win it, because after the second game, they don't have to deal with as much. I agree. I think once you get past North Carolina,
that's going to be we're really going to see, how much they have in the tank, like how much firepower do they have? Because we can tell game to game. It's been interesting. We've been able to see Baylor, like the trend of this team has been true from game to game. Iowa State not play well, lose the next game at Kansas State. Not play well lose the next game at Kansas. Not play well against Kansas State, lose the next game against Oklahoma State. So I think once we get a good taste test, if you will, against North Carolina or Wisconsin, I think it'll be the Tar Heels, but we'll have a good shot of seeing what they got in the tank.
Scotty B says, I think Illinois got maybe the hardest bracket out of all of them, though Michigan got a hard bracket too. I have Illinois losing in the second round. And he said Michigan lost their best player, which they did. Michigan guard out indefinitely. So that foot injury. So that's going to hurt Michigan without a doubt. I still think Michigan's going to be solid, but Illinois. Scotty B has Illinois out in round 2, which I would assume he's saying against Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago is going to be tough to deal with for anybody. Okay. I would much rather be where we are than playing Loyola Chicago, just because they have that weird March thing. I don't think it's going to happen for them this year. I like Josh Pastner round 1, but...
Or Georgia Tech. I don't want to play either of those teams round 1.
Right.
I don't want to play round 2. I don't want to play either of those teams.
Look at the 8-9. Why are the 8-9 so good this year? I think Michigan got a better shake. LSU and St. Bonaventure, I would love... That's the easiest 8-9. That's the easiest 8-9. Oklahoma, Missouri, Power 5 schools. Yeah. Good Power 5 schools. North Carolina, Wisconsin. Both of those teams have played in national championships in the last 5 seasons.
Yes.
And then on the bottom of that, you got Loyola Chicago, who went to a Final Four, and Georgia Tech, who Josh Pastner is doing one of the best jobs in college basketball as their head coach. So I don't have any confidence I would not have as much confidence in round 2 if I was Baylor, Gonzaga, or Illinois compared to Michigan against St. Bonaventure and LSU. Michigan got the fairest shake out of all of them.
I mean, even LSU took Alabama to the wire.
That's a good point,
They almost won the SEC championship. I think LSU, if they're on, especially defensively, if they have it going offensively, it's going to give any team trouble in the second round.
This is going to be a weird year. The first bracket I filled out last night. Was it Michigan?
It was Music Monday. I was giving you a hand signal.
In the sky!
I was giving you a hand signal so that you would continue talking and, process that information and wouldn't do exactly what we're doing right now.
No, I like that. I like when you say things. I like when you I like open communication. You have a microphone. You can just, hey guys, Music Monday. And then we'll play it. Do it again.
Pretty good,
yeah, what did you do?
I do like that.
Show the folks at home.
I do like that.
That right there? That's your Music Monday signal?
Giving you a big M.
I do like it.
Wow. Wow.
What does the S stand for?
Shadow puppet.
S.
Sitter.
Stands for sitter. And be babysitter. Couldn't have babysitter. I was walking around big BS on my chest. Couldn't do that for obvious reasons.
Incredibles.
Remember?
You don't remember? Syndrome?
What does the
Syndrome?
S stands for? Sitter. S stands for sitter.
Yeah.
It's going to be babysitter. Going to have a big.
Music Monday!
That tune.
Holla.
What is that tune?
Yep,
exactly.
We like to party.
Pitbull?
We like to party.
Is that really what it is?
I think so.
Okay.
But anyways, y'all ready?
Yep.
I'm ready as
Mr.
I'm gonna
Worldwide.
be.
Ow.
See it all around you.
Good loving's gone bad.
Without love.
Same old dial, same old wind of the work week.
How much you care, you've given me the thrill of a lifetime.
Sean Bonner. These are all songs that I could sing probably every lyric to, but just the. They're all
JD,
catchy
I probably
too.
have like 3.
JD was over there looking confused. You should. There's one of them that you should for sure have.
Yeah. I think that's actually a second appearance on Music Monday.
Is it?
I think it is.
Show
Maybe
you
for
that
the
I
band.
love you.
Maybe for the band. I don't know the. You know, actually,
so.
we're so far into this
We're deep
thing.
into this thing.
I've completely forgot what we have and haven't featured.
It is. I do think that song's been featured.
Well, here you go. Free
Is
points.
it the,
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
It is on.
Did I feature it?
I think it
that
was.
song for sure. If
I think
that's what
Once Upon a
if that's what
Time.
that song was, then yeah.
Okay. Well, free points then.
There we go.
Top.
I mean, I haven't gotten it yet.
That was quick. Oh.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm about as ready as I'm going to be, yeah.
You see it all around you.
Good loving's gone.
Good loving gone bad. Without love.
I like it. I do like these songs.
Same old dial, same old wind of the work week.
How much you care, you've given me the thrill of a lifetime.
I love that song. I don't know who that's by, but I love that song.
Can we?
I'm afraid.
Can we hear the first one again?
Sure, you want them all again?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
You see it all
This is you versus you at this point. I'm not going to lie to you.
good loving gone bad.
As it typically is. Did you get it? Is that why you did that? There we go.
Same old dial,
Same old wind of the work week.
How much you care, you've given me the thrill of a lifetime.
I might know who that fourth one's by. We're
Number
gonna find
one.
out. We're gonna
Number
find
one.
out.
Hold on loosely.
Yeah, JD, did you
Don't
get
let
it?
it
I have
go.
nothing written down.
Okay, where's your title and artist?
It's got hold on loosely.
Yeah.
It's got to be Good Loving's Gone Bad. Oh, it's an English band.
Is it? I don't
The song
know.
was in English
I don't
for
think so.
sure.
Sean Bonner.
The song was in English.
Song was in English.
That's gonna happen. All right, who is it?
It's 38 Special.
38 Special. Wow. You know who? Like they remind me of Bad Company and Foreigner. Like they're all in Boston.
Okay.
Same category. Second song. La, la.
Do you have anything, JD?
I wrote
For second song?
the word Jake down, then I scribbled it out because I realized it wasn't the line that I thought it was.
Where would
so I
you
also
be
have
now?
nothing down for either of those.
You got anything?
Is it Where Would You Be Now?
No.
It's by the Allman Brothers.
No.
Is it okay? Is it by?
It's Long Train Running.
Oh, by the Doobie
By the
Brothers.
Doobie Brothers.
By the Doobie Brothers.
Okay.
Yep.
Didn't know either. Didn't know that.
Doobie Doobie.
Hey,
Smoking
this
news,
is
my
a
brothers.
family-friendly show.
Doobie Brothers. Smoking news, my brothers. What is he doing in that scene? I forget.
I don't remember.
All right.
Anyways.
Number three?
Number 3.
Want You Back. Jackson 5.
Yep.
It's actually I Want You Back.
Yeah, I think that.
That's the same thing that happened last time.
I give it to him. I'll give it to him.
I'll take it. So we can get
What's
it.
song number 4? This is where the men become boys.
Song
Yeah.
number
I
4.
don't-
This is where the men become boys.
Men become. JD's about to become a boy
you.
right now.
Is it by Jake Owens?
No, but
good guess.
Jake Owen, but good guess. Great
Okay.
guess. Gonna have to go with Heartache Medication by John Party.
Correct.
Nice.
You've become a boy.
I have a boy now.
And the fifth song.
Didn't know it. Oh, This Will Be?
Bro, you nailed it.
No way.
Yeah.
No idea what the artist is.
Eartha Kitt.
No. Natalie Cole. But I'm very impressed.
You say Nat King Cole?
Nat King Cole's daughter, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Is it seriously?
Natalie Cole.
There you
Dead or
go.
alive, Nat King Cole.
I think
Ooh, I think Nat King Cole's dead.
Gotta
isn't
be
he?
dead.
Isn't he?
Got it. Dead or alive, Natalie Cole.
Ooh, I'm gonna look at these.
Find
both up.
out tomorrow when we play Dead or Alive. Did you find it?
Well, he's definitely dead, yes.
Nike Cole's dead, yeah.
Darn.
What were you, were you looking up Natalie?
I'm trying to look up Natalie.
We can play it now.
Yeah, she's dead, unfortunately.
She's dead?
man.
What an
Golly.
upset. I would have definitely said alive.
Talk about a Cinderella.
You do hate to see it.
She passed in 2015, so.
Recent. Wow, still fresh.
Golly.
Still fresh. We got to tread lightly. You know who didn't tread lightly? I'm Drake Toll. That's J.D. Pickell. Armstrong Sims. Everything you see right here, all over, everywhere. This is Up Tempo. When we come back, we'll break it down more of the NCAA March Madness tournament bracket. This is Up Tempo.
It's officially time for March Madness as all 68 teams are set and headed to Indianapolis, with the Baylor Bears, the 1 seed in the South region, meet the 16-seed Hartford Hawks on Friday at 2:30. Outside of Baylor, the Big 12 had a nation's best 70% of teams make the big dance, with Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, and Oklahoma State joining Baylor as 4 seeds or higher. On the women's side, the Lady Bears are conference tournament champions again after a 76-50 drubbing of West Virginia and Kansas City. Kim Mulkey and company await their bracket release that takes place tonight. In baseball, the Bears have done it again. Baylor has notched 8 straight victories after sweeping a 3-game series against Xavier with a run differential of 28-7 combined. In softball, the Lady Bears are red hot after sweeping a 4-game tournament at Grand Canyon University and knocking off number 9 Arizona State 7-2 in Tempe. Baylor has now won 11 of its last 12. In track, Casey Lightfoot cements his name as the best indoor pole vaulter in NCAA history after winning an indoor national championship in Fayetteville. Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller also won individual national titles in their respective events over the weekend. And the women's tennis team opened up conference play with a 7-0 win over West Virginia. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
I'm here to tell you right now.
We don't care.
We don't care.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside Armstrong Sims, breaking things down across March Madness. Match Madness, folks. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Match Madness?
Match Madness. You ever heard that?
No.
The ball is tipped.
Hey.
There you are.
Nah, don't do this. Don't do that to me.
For your life.
Don't do it to me.
Now you knew. Yeah. Baylor in round one taking on Hartford. That game is on Friday at 2:30 in La PM. Have you seen the schedule for Friday's games?
No.
The first major game that tips off of March Madness, the first game we see of March Madness period is going to be Texas Southern and Mount St. Mary's. That's how we start this puppy. You ready for that? That is some crazy action on Thursday. Then Drake,
I'm so ready.
Drake and Wichita State. That's that afternoon at 5:30, 5:27 actually. There's a game. Yeah.
I can't believe you just said Texas Southern and Mount St. Mary's isn't a major game.
It is. It's a showdown. It's one of those teams is getting in.
Oh yeah.
I honestly think that's the easiest matchup for anybody. Michigan got a great draw. Michigan got a great draw in round one and I think round two. But I think past that, honestly, I would just love to be Michigan right now. They have the easiest. I think Michigan has the easiest trek to the Elite Eight. And then once they get there, they have to pay. I think, honestly, the Final Four. I think Michigan's got the easiest trek to the Final Four. But you got, Thursday's games, Texas Southern, Mount St. Mary's, Drake, Wichita State, Appalachian State, Norfolk State, and then UCLA, Michigan State's the nightcap. So here's how these games are spread out, too. Texas Southern, Mount St. Mary's, they play at 4:10. Listen to these times. 4:10. Drake, Wichita State, 5:27 p.m. tip. App State, Norfolk State, 7:40 p.m., and then UCLA, Michigan State, 8:57 p.m.
One thing I really appreciate about the way they schedule March Madness games is they always stagger them so you can watch like the last 5 minutes of one game, and then that one ends, and then you can just flip over and watch the last 5 minutes of the next game.
Yeah.
It's perfectly. They time it perfectly.
So that the lines are out too. Texas Southern's a 2-point favorite. Wichita State's a 2-point favorite, which I love that matchup. That's probably my favorite one of the day. App State's a 3-point favorite, and then Michigan State's a favorite over UCLA by 1.5. So that'll be an interesting slate of games on Thursday. Then you get into action on Friday. This is what Baylor plays. Baylor's at 2:30. First game of the day, Virginia Tech and Florida at 11:15. Then at 11:45, Colgate and Arkansas. So that game, over under 162, going to be a really high-scoring matchup. That game takes place that morning, so we'll be live. We'll be on the air doing a radio show when things tip off at 11:15 on CBS between Virginia Tech and Florida when we get underway in the round of 64. Utah State and Texas Tech's at 12:45, 2 o'clock Oral Roberts, Ohio State, and then you got Hartford and Baylor at 2:30. And if you guys have not looked at this matchup yet, so let me introduce you to Hartford a little bit. Hartford went 15-8 this season. They were first in the American East Conference. Their schedule at Connecticut. They lost their first game of the season against Connecticut by 12 on the road, so not bad. They lost to Villanova by 34 at Villanova. No, at home. Somehow they talked Villanova into going to Hartford. And the Hawks lost 87-53. They beat Fairfield. They beat Central Connecticut. And they beat Fairfield again. Hey, big time. They beat Maine twice. Lost at New Hampshire twice. Binghamton, forget about it. They beat them twice. UMass Lowell was a split. UMBC was a split. Stony Brook split. NJIT split. Then when they got into the conference tournament, they knocked off Binghamton, Albany, Vermont, and UMass Lowell in the conference championship game. So that was at home too. Punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament for the first time ever, the Hartford Hawks. We're working on analysts right now, finding analysts from Hartford to come on the show and explain to the folks, the good folks at home, who exactly this team is and what they do best. But right now, Hartford and Baylor square off in matchup number 1. Looking across not just their schedule this season, so 15-8 overall. Obviously, they haven't played anybody remotely as good as Baylor in their conference schedule, and their one game they were even remotely close in was against UConn. They were blown out by Villanova. They have won now 6 straight games. They're 14-8 against the spread, so a really good team against the spread compared to Baylor. It's 15-9. Baylor 22-2 overall. Hartford 15-8. And Hartford right now, they're projected to score 55, 56 points. Baylor's at 83 points in the projected game. And we'll know more and more about this team as the week goes on and as people are able to study what Hartford does. Baylor, again, a 26-point favorite coming into this thing. Baylor has a 99% chance to win this. They are similar, when you look at similar teams, they are similar to the 2012 Albany team, obviously. You know, when I think about 2021 Hartford, I think 2012 Albany or 2008 Murray State, 2007 Cal Poly. Those are teams that are comparable. So here's what we got. We got Scott Drew and the team, when they found out that they were going to the NCAA tournament, their reaction and a quick show took place afterward. We have bites from that, video from that, where Scott Drew and Jared Butler spoke to media yesterday in the wake of the Bears getting their 1 seed and finding out they were playing Hartford in round 1. This is a Hartford team. A little bit more recap on them. They averaged 13 turnovers per game, 66 points per game, 33 offensive rebounds per game. 30 offense, that can't be right. That's just got to be rebounds. That can't be right. Free throw percentage is 71%. 3-point percentage, here's where they're not good. 32.6% behind the arc. Oh. Baylor, 84 points per game, 12 turnovers a game, 37 rebounds a game, 70% at the free throw line. So they're worse than Hartford. Not a very good free throw shooting team, but 42% at behind the 3-point line, the Baylor Bears. For Hartford, their best player this season has been Austin Williams, averaged 13.7 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and shoots 50% this season. So Austin Williams is their player to watch out for against Baylor when these two teams square off in the game on Friday at 2:30. Baylor and Hartford, the 1 seed and the 16 seed. But hey, we've got Scott Drew, Jared Butler, their reactions to being a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Check this out.
Excellent. Thanks, David. Scott, congratulations. 2 questions for you. First of all, coming back to Indiana for you, kind of what's the extra meaning of playing the tournament here this year?
Oh, it's always excited coming back home. We got a lot of friends, family, people from that part of the country. And at the same time, really excited because I know I'm going to be with my brother and other assistant coaches that are leading their programs. And it makes it easy for my mom and dad. They don't have to go to 2 locations.
There you go. Second, Bryce getting GCU win. What is something kind of from a coaching standpoint that the two of you most have in common, and how much of that you think comes from your dad?
Oh, well, definitely both of us learned everything we do from my dad. And you throw in your own twists and turns and things that spices you like to add. But we have a great mentor. There's a reason he's in the Hall of Fame. And both of us were blessed to learn from him. And as good a coach as he is, he's a better father.
You just touched on the significance of being a number 1 seed as something different. I'm curious, you've been in the tournament before, you've played deep into the tournament before. How is the challenge or your approach any different being the 1 seed in a bracket that people say that's the team favored to come out of the bracket with the seed?
Well, I think the whole key to the tournament's real simple. and that is you got to go 1-0, and that's the only game you're worried about, concerned about, and that's the beauty of college basketball. It's a 40-minute game. It's not the NBA where it's best of 7 and the best team usually wins. In a 40-minute game, anybody can win. So you got to control everything you can control, and let God decide the rest.
Just to follow up, is there any significance? I mean, do you think the players, it means something to get that one? I mean, again, you got to win the game in front of you, no matter what the seed is, but the significance of having it, do you think that matters a lot to the players?
Well, definitely it means that people think the accomplishments are worthy of a number 1 seed. Means people appreciate what they were able to achieve for the year. So there's always a lot of pride in being able to get a number 1 seed. Doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to be successful in the tournament, which we all know. So that's why it's March Madness, 40-minute game. Anyone can win. Seed numbers don't matter. It's who plays best in that 40 minutes.
Coach, congratulations on getting the number 1 seed. You mentioned pretty much all season long, but especially early in conference play, that being in a conference as strong as the Big 12 prepares you for this time of year. Do you feel like it did that job well enough?
Hopefully, each and every year you appreciate what the Big 12's about and prepares you. As far as the Big 12 tournaments just run like the NCAA tournament. The last 6 out of 7 years, we've been the number 1 ranked conference. You usually get 6 or 7 teams to represent the conference, but there's a variety of styles. And because of that, hopefully you've seen pretty much everything you could see come tournament time. And I know once the NCAA begins, all of us Big 12 teams are pulling for each other. And there's nothing we'd like more than to see 5, 6 of us in the Sweet 16 and a couple of us in the Final Four.
And how nice will it be after beating up on each other for so many months to finally play someone else?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the joys of the tournament. Everybody's excited of the newness, playing someone doesn't know all your plays, doesn't know all your personnel, and a different uniform.
Mark said that the team maybe came into the Big 12 tournament a little overconfident and that the loss was good for them. How have you seen some of the team leaders kind of help, just reset the mindset of the team in the past couple of days to be ready for a brand new tournament?
Well, it's the 4th season. You go from the non-conference to the conference tournament. Now it's the NCAA tournament. And past history tells you the last 5 out of 6 national champs lost in their conference tournament. So I think hopefully it'll, with this couple of days of practice, will be able to be a blessing for us and be able to defensively and offensively get back to how we were playing prior to the pause.
What's your reaction to getting a number 1 seed, and do you feel like y'all earned that?
Yeah, I think we definitely earned it. I think it's just the product of, the 2 years of playing hard and building a culture, building a winning culture, and getting the right group of guys to play together. And it's been special, and we're just getting started,
Yeah, and you're going to be able to get in a few practices. It's been a while since y'all been able to do a bunch, in a row. How much will that help?
I think it's going to help us a lot. Just the time to get our mind right. And we got some few days of practice, so that's been good for us. And, it's just go time. Like, it's win or go home. And, it's kind of, you can't think about, the negatives or what we've been through. It's like, it's do or die. So it's been good.
Hey, Jared, obviously no crazy surprise to be a 1 seed, but I want to know, was there any way to prepare mentally for your reaction when you saw Baylor and that number 1 beside it?
No, not really. At the end of the day, it's still special to be a number 1 seed for like the second time ever in Baylor history, and all the hard work we put in and all the wins we've gotten. It's still a cool thing. Like, no matter how many times we knew it was going to happen, it's still a cool thing. And March Madness is such an exciting time. So it's always fun, no matter what.
And the team, Jared, how did the team as a whole react?
I think we had a pretty good reaction, pretty solid reaction. Not like, we were expected to be number 1 seed. We weren't under excited too. So that's a good thing. We were thankful.
Hey, Jared, I know you all watch a lot of film. Kind of what specific things stick out to you defensively that you all maybe need to improve upon heading into Indianapolis?
I think we need to go back to just our basic rules. And I think since we're not playing too many Big 12 teams in the beginning, like that's going to be key. Like our defense is so good because most teams don't face it and they don't face it all the time. So like instead of playing Oklahoma State for the third time, who knows our defense and is comfortable playing our defense, we're going to be playing, Hartford, who hasn't seen our defense, and we're going to be able to really get after it.
Switching to the offensive side of the ball, it seems like you all played very well since returning, but you missed some shots against Oklahoma State. Do you feel like you're pretty close to being back on offense?
Yeah, it's a tough thing playing back to back. You're not always going to hit shots, but like I think at the end of the day, like our defense has to travel. Our defense has to be able to sustain us through all these games, no matter if we shoot the ball well or not. And I think that's going to be the key for us.
And then on the basketball side, what's the key to get off to a fast start in any game that you would play from here on out, just moving forward?
I think it's the days before. I think it's all about how we prepare for the game. We can't come out sluggish. We can't do these things that, just don't result in losing. So it's the first few days before the game. That's going to be big for us because we're a big preparation team, and once we feel comfortable going into the game, we'll be fine.
Jared, 2 years ago, you are the 9 seed, wound up playing Gonzaga in the next round. How much of a different mentality is it now? You're one of the top seeds.
Yeah, it's such a different feeling. I'm feeling like, are we going to beat Syracuse? Like, I'm going to Syracuse. Like, this is like, I don't know. But, going in as a 1 seed is totally different. But at the same time, you still got to take it one game at a time. You can't overlook teams. But it's definitely a different feeling being a freshman, first time in the NCAA tournament. But it's different, but you still can't overlook teams.
That from Scott Drew and Jared Butler yesterday after finding out that they were the 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. That was seconds after, too. Like, hey, you guys, you're a 1 seed, and you're playing Hartford. And then Scott Drew's in front of a Zoom camera, Jared Butler as well. Those guys were so excited, though. So excited. I don't think, from an analyst fan standpoint, as I consider myself both, being a student, I don't think everybody was ready for Baylor to be a 1 seed, but you can't prepare for seeing Baylor and 1 put together on the NCAA tournament bracket. You just cannot mentally prepare. I know I couldn't, because then you see it and you're like, wow. Like, I remember getting excited. I knew it was going to happen, but I got excited. I also got excited they don't have to play Appalachian State round 1, and Gonzaga does. I'm Drake Toll. That is Armstrong Sims, and when we come back, Kendall Kaut joins the show from our Daily Bears to break down Baylor, the South region, and it is March, baby. This thing's getting mad, and this thing right here is up-tempo.
It's officially time for March Madness as all 68 teams are set and headed to Indianapolis, with the Baylor Bears, the 1 seed in the South region, meet the 16 seed Hartford Hawks on Friday at 2:30. Outside of Baylor, the Big 12 had a nation's best 70% of teams make the big dance, with Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, and Oklahoma State joining Baylor as 4 seeds or higher. On the women's side, the Lady Bears are conference tournament champions again after a 76-50 drubbing of West Virginia and Kansas City. Kim Mulkey and company await their bracket release that takes place tonight. In baseball, the Bears have done it again. Baylor has notched 8 straight victories after sweeping a 3-game series against Xavier with a run differential of 28-7 combined. In softball, the Lady Bears are red hot after sweeping a 4-game tournament at Grand Canyon University and knocking off number 9 Arizona State 7-2 in Tempe. Baylor has now won 11 of its last 12. In track, Casey Lightfoot cements his name as the best indoor pole vaulter in NCAA history after winning an indoor national championship in Fayetteville. Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller also won individual national titles in their respective events over the weekend. And the women's tennis team opened up conference play with a 7-0 win over West Virginia. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the number one selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Diner guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No capes.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside Armstrong Sims. It's Monday, breaking things down across the NCAA tournament bracket released yesterday, and now we know that the Baylor Bears will meet Hartford at 2:30 this Friday in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. Joining the show today to help us break it down, Kendall Cowell from Our Daily Bears. Kendall, it is March. For the first time in 2 years, there is a physical, hard copy March Madness bracket in my hand. Are you just excited?
I'd be more thrilled, Drake. I was so depressed last year when the tournament got canceled. I planned out my whole March and April to be at the NCAA tournament. Was excited to get to Atlanta because can't flights, though. I will still see Atlanta this March to get to Indianapolis, so it all works out in the end.
Kendall, not only that, the first thing I want to know from your standpoint as someone that covers Baylor, for me, I was a little bit nervous for the selection show, which I grew up an Arkansas fan, so typically I was nervous because the team was always on the bubble, but this was a different kind of nerves. You knew Baylor would be a 1 seed, but it was finding out who was in Baylor's quadrant, and I want to know, while folks expected to see Baylor and that 1 right beside its name, did it just feel a little bit more special when it actually happened?
It definitely did, Drake. We all felt like, hey, this should be the number 2 overall team. But until the moment actually occurs, I know you asked Jared a very good question yesterday about, like, could you really prepare for this moment? Until it really hits you for that first time that Baylor is in as a 1 seed, it's a lot different than it had been in years past. Baylor's been very good about making the tournament most years since they really got it going in 2008. But this was a different category of excellence.
With that, when you see that Baylor's matched up round 1 with Hartford, I've done a pretty extensive research, or done some pretty extensive research on different teams in this field, and I felt like an Appalachian State in round 1 was scary. It's a team that I really like that plays well, but a Texas Southern or a Hartford, those are schools that I think Baylor could deal with really, really easily. Did you feel the same when you saw Hartford matched up with the Bears?
Sure. Kind of expert on Hartford when the bracket came out. The last experience I'd had with Hartford was back in 2010. Efe Udo hit that turnaround 3 to beat Hartford at the buzzer in the Farrell Center. Changed in 11 years. And so doing some deep dive on Hartford since then. They don't have a lot of games online, but Villanova dispatched them easily. They gave UConn a little bit of a scare into the second. Then the Huskies put the boot down. So I would agree with that assessment. This would be a catastrophic defeat for Baylor. All of the trolling that Virginia had to take for a year, they would have to take at least, because this is just not an acceptable loss.
When you see this Hartford team and what you've done so far with your analysis, we've looked at some of the quick stats. They only shoot 32, a little bit over 32% from behind the arc. They're not a great free throw shooting team. They're not a great rebounding team. They're not a great scoring team in general. Is there one area where they could really hurt Baylor in the end?
I don't really think there's an area that terrifies me about Hartford. I guess the thing you maybe look at is they have a guy who had previously been a top 150 recruit, so you think he's talented enough to go off in their backcourt, but it's just really not a team that scares you in kind of any of the 4 factors of basketball. They're not great. They're just not good at anything. There's not an area you look at Hartford and say, this team is great. They will take a lot of threes, but they don't make them at a very high clip. They're 225th nationally in three-point percentage, so they will at least plan to take a lot of threes. If I were Hartford, I would plan some junk defense to play against Baylor, because the reality is that if this game takes place 100 times, Baylor probably wins it 99 times out of 100. So you got to make that one time you win out of 100 more probably get it up to 2 or 3 times out of 100.
Hartford, this team too, out of the American East, first overall in the American East out of the conference, but it doesn't look like they expected that necessarily. This team seems to be reminiscent of a Georgetown, maybe not as dramatic in their conference tournament, as in they weren't expected to win. They weren't expected to make it to March. And this is the first time they have made it to the NCAA tournament. Does it seem like maybe that gives them a chip on their shoulder, being one of those teams that climbed out of a tournament they weren't expected to?
Yeah, I think it might, Drake, and given they won't have to play that 16 game, I think there's an advantage if you play the 16 seed that has to play in that first 4 weekend, because they at least have won a game in the tournament, so they might have that momentum. This team doesn't, so they're all locked in saying, hey, nobody thinks we can beat Baylor. And then you have a whole week to try and convince yourself why Baylor are frauds in your mind. I don't think Baylor's a fraud. But if you're at Hartford, you got a week to consider, hey, I don't think this guy's that good. I don't think that guy's that good. They're just Virginia 2.0. And that's not true. But you got a week to convince yourself this is Virginia 2.0, and we're the, Terriers and or the Retrievers. It's been a while since Baltimore County was able to get that victory, but you got to convince yourself we are just the same as them, and Baylor is Virginia 2.0. They got a week to convince themselves of a lie.
Kendall, along with this Hartford game, and I don't think Baylor's going to have an issue not just winning, but covering at 26.5 too. I think this is an easy 30-point victory for Baylor. They can maybe get their feet back up under them after a loss to Oklahoma State. But then you look to North Carolina, Wisconsin. If I'm Gonzaga's got to play the winner of Oklahoma, Missouri. Illinois plays the winner of Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech, which I think Loyola Chicago could be really dangerous this year. All 3 of those 1 seeds are going to have pretty tough matchups in round 2. Do you see it as though Baylor got maybe the toughest slate out of anybody of a 1 seed in round 2?
I do not. In fact, I think Baylor has the 8 of the 1 seeds. I think Gonzaga probably has a little bit easier of one, but it's debatable for me between those 2. I know Armstrong is a North Carolina man at heart, but I got a big believer in Old Roy's team this season. He's a 3-time national champion. They have a McDonald's All-American in the backcourt. They have a front court that's got a lot of size and ranks number 1 in offensive rebound. But I mentioned on the show that I did with Ashley Hodge and Jason King yesterday that I don't think being a great offensive rebounding team is that big of an advantage against Baylor, because every offensive rebounds against Baylor. It would be like if you knew, I had given the analogy yesterday, that if you were the ugliest man walking into a bar, it wouldn't make that big of a difference if you were competing against the most attractive man or just a guy who's kind of attractive, right? Because inevitably, if you're going to get that date, if you were the ugliest guy in the bar, and you know, I've never been the hottest guy in Scrubs when I've gone, so maybe after me. But if that's the case, does it really make a difference if somebody gets a little bit hotter? No, because if you're getting that date, you got to win with humor, you got to win with personality, you got to win with sincerity. You're not winning with I'm attractive enough. It's kind of that same deal with North Carolina. They can't grab 85% of their misses against Baylor. Like at some point, even if one of Baylor's players is in the wrong position or is not boxed, just collect some defensive rebounds naturally. So I don't think the Tar Heels match up well there. Well, Wisconsin ranks pretty highly in some advanced metrics. They have not beat very good teams finish the season like 6-10. So I think that's a much more favorable matchup than Loyola Chicago, Georgia Tech, LSU. I mean, I don't know if they're paying guys in Baton Rouge, but they got a lot to buy, and that's a lot tougher matchup to me than what you would find in the South region.
Kendall, looking at the South Quadrant, along with who Baylor would play in the Sweet 16, I see that Winthrop-Villanova matchup, especially without Colin Gillespie, being very dangerous for Jay Wright's team. And I also see North Texas giving Purdue trouble. What are the odds that Baylor faces either Winthrop or North Texas, a Cinderella team in the Sweet 16?
It's a very popular upset pick, Drake, and I think there's a possibility there. Winthrop, one loss on the season by a single field goal, could definitely win that game. And with Villanova missing Colin Gillespie, Villanova's not a very popular pick. Maybe that inspires Jeremiah Robinson and some of their other very good players. Jay Wright, a two-time national champion. And then Purdue has been good in some games. They've beaten some good teams in a talented Big Ten. But their resume overall is kind of why they're on that 4-line. Travion Williams would be a very good front court for Baylor to face. But UNT with Grant McCasland with his former Baylor ties is a tough team. And Ashley Hodgman, and I certainly agree with this, one advantage Baylor has in the South region is because you have Paul Mills and Oral Roberts, and because you have Grant McCasland at UNT, they're already going to have some advanced scouting done if they don't advance to let you know, here's what we try to do against Purdue. But unfortunately, if you're Grant McCasland and you lose to Purdue, you'd say, we don't have Davion Mitchell and Mark Vidal, but we think they could do these things. So here's what you would have when you start your scouting.
Outside of that, I think, Kendall, well, let's start here. What are the odds that Baylor goes to the Sweet 16? I mean, it's not going to be easy to get past round 2 against North Carolina, Wisconsin. Easy is a subjective word there, but do you see this Baylor team as pretty much a lock for at least the Sweet 16?
I would not say an absolute lock, Drake. That gets into kind of that, is Joe Flacco an elite quarterback discussion where we might say is locked definitively, but I think it's a good question, though. I would say probably 85% to get there. That's a little higher than the analytics will have because they respect Wisconsin so much. And some people, I saw CBS's Sportology show that Ryan Hollins and some other dude were saying they thought North Carolina had a good chance to beat Baylor. But I think Baylor's about an 85% favorite to make that second weekend. And defending like they have in the past, I think their odds are even better.
What are the odds, too, that Sweet 16 matchup ends up being easier or maybe more favorable for Baylor than even the second-round matchup?
Another fair question. I think it really could be. I would probably put those odds, if I'm throwing out a number, at 25% because I think Purdue is a much bigger challenge than Wisconsin, and North Carolina would be for Baylor because of the size they have with Travion Williams. But if Purdue's not there, then I think UNT and Winthrop would be easier challenges for Baylor. But at the same time, if Winthrop makes the Sweet 16, they're going to be the darlings of the country because they'll only have that one loss in the season. And we'll start saying, why in the world was Winthrop a 12 seed?
Going into the Sweet 16, Baylor's got a shot to play either Villanova, Winthrop, Purdue, North Texas. What are the odds then that Baylor ends up making an Elite Eight? And if they do, who do you see them playing?
Sure. So I have Baylor in the Elite Eight in my bracket. Would not shock me if Purdue has a good shooting day and knocks off Baylor, or if Winthrop just gets hot this tournament. That's where it starts getting a lot tighter for teams in the tournament. I think the mindset's a little bit different as you feel so close to the Final Four. When I look at who might match up with Baylor in that, I think Ohio State is still worlds more talented than the other teams at the bottom of this bracket. Arkansas sticks out for some teams. I know you have the ties to Arkansas, Drake. My thing there is that I think that Aaron is such a good coach that he might have overachieved this season relative to talent. And I'm still a little hesitant about, is the SEC not a very good league? That Missouri win over Illinois did a lot, I think, to perception of the SEC, but I still don't know that it's that good of a league. So I'm a little questionable about Arkansas. And then Texas Tech, I can't buy they'll be consistent enough to make the Elite Eight. So I think Ohio State is the most team to make it to the Elite Eight matchup with Baylor.
Looking at that Ohio State-Baylor game, Ohio State gave Illinois a really, really good run with a solid second half, taking them all the way to overtime. How worried would you be about Baylor against a team like Ohio State, that I don't see with a necessarily dominant big? Is that going to be a favorable matchup for Baylor?
So I think Baylor would definitely be favored in that game. The challenge for Ohio State is that they don't like to put teams in ball screens all the time. That's kind of, you can put Baylor in a tough spot is if you can put their bigs in ball screens where they can't get up to the level of the screen. Ohio State did not do that against Illinois much yesterday, and that's the best with Illinois, as Baylor did back in November. So I don't think they have the unique matchup advantage you'd want. Maybe with a full week to work on this, Chris Holtmann, a very good coach who'd been very successful at Butler and is now winning at Ohio State, could do it. But I think that's probably the most favorable two line that Baylor could have faced, given the matchup differences they might have had with Houston, Alabama, and Iowa, with Luka Garza maybe being able to go off.
Kendall, I want to know where you fall on the spectrum with this question. I posed it earlier in the show today. I don't think my bracket does not have Iowa, Baylor, Gonzaga, Michigan, or Illinois winning a national championship this year. I think it's just one of those years where somebody crazy comes out, a 7 seed, a 6 seed that nobody's talking about, and wins this whole thing, or at least vies for it. My co-host disagreed and said that he thought a year like this, the coaches like Scott Drew, Roy Williams, Jay Wright, the guys that have been there, Mark Few, they're going to get their teams to the Final Four or further. Where do you land on that spectrum? Do you think we see anarchy, or do things go as planned this season?
I think anarchy is dead in college basketball this season. I respect that take, Drake. And after that 2014 season when Trash Connecticut played Trash Kentucky title, you really can't rule out chaos enveloping the sport. But for me, if you were Gonzaga and you've already beaten the 2, 3, and 4 seeds by double digits this season, I don't know how if you're up in the morning without just wanting to lay in bed all day if you don't make the Final Four with how your run is so easy this season. I think Michigan is in dire straits with the bracket they've drawn out. So I would agree with you. Michigan is in real trouble. And I think Illinois might be a tad bit overrated, a really good team, but they played some close games down the stretch, and they should have lost to Nebraska 2 weeks ago. So I don't know that Illinois is quite as good as the way they've been perceived nationally. And I think Oklahoma State matches up very favorably for them if they can get into that game. And then Houston is equally challenging to play defense against, and they just walloped Texas Tech earlier this season. And I think Houston would be favored against Illinois. They wouldn't be favored gambling-wise, but I would bet on Illinois, or I would bet on Houston with whatever the line is, and I'd even bet on Houston line in that game. And I think Baylor has a good chance the defense gets back to form, because their three-point shooting is just so good that even when they shot 6 of 28 against Oklahoma State, they were still up 8 points with 8 minutes left, and they don't collapse on a few defensive possessions, still could have won on a shooting night that generously.
Kendall, when you look at the 1 seeds, Michigan, Gonzaga, Baylor, and Illinois, does it feel like somebody was slighted, maybe Michigan, in the field that they got when it comes to tough matchups, and then maybe there's a team that got an easier road?
I think Illinois got absolutely jobbed. Loyola Chicago ranks number 1. They made the Final Four 4 years ago. 2 guys that played significant minutes on that Final Four team still remain. So I don't know why Loyola Chicago was given an 8 seed. Just won the ACC tournament. They had 2 horrendous losses to begin the campaign. So yet metric-wise, why you have to seed them on that 9 line, that is one heck of a matchup. No matter who wins that game, very challenging 8-9 game if you're Illinois. Oklahoma State with Cade Cunningham has certainly played their best basketball down the stretch. Only 2 losses are to Baylor and Waco, and to Texas after Texas had to play 1 fewer game than Oklahoma State did in the tournament. And then Houston is just such a challenging team to play because they don't score a lot efficiently, right? They're a horrible shooting team. But Kelvin Sampson's team pounded Texas Tech. Kelvin Sampson's one of the best coaches in the field. And then West Virginia just kind of looms as that if you haven't prepared to play West Virginia or Bob Huggins' team, and the officials called the game in a way favorable to Bob Huggins, although they don't press anymore, the way Sean McNeil shot in Morgantown, I wouldn't like my odds in that game either. So just problem with Illinois' bracket compared to like Baylor's or Gonzaga's is that you might say, oh, I think Iowa's better than anybody in the Illinois region, or I think that Arkansas is a better 3 seed than West Virginia. There are just so many landmines in the Illinois region. Like we talked about it, Drake. You could see Winthrop advancing in Baylor's bracket, and then Baylor would have a favorable matchup. I don't see much of a path facing good team after good team after good team to advance, and that's why I think their region is so unfair.
Without a doubt. I mean, the whole Illinois slate is unbelievable. I mean, team after team. One of the things that I had mentioned out of Baylor's bracket, out of the South yesterday, my very first analysis of the South was that I don't see a 2011 Wichita State. You know, I don't see a, 2018 Loyola Chicago, 2018, 2019. I don't see one of those Cinderellas coming out of the South and making a Final Four run this year, and that will bode well for Baylor. What do you make of that assessment? Is that kind of how you see this right now?
I do. I think the only two about are Winthrop, because they've only lost that one game, and I don't know how good they are for sure. And then the second one is Colgate is the mystery upon mystery. They only played a league schedule in the Patriot League. They lost to Army, but they also beat them by 44 points. The net loves them, but the net loves them because the American teams didn't play many non-conference games at all, and Colgate didn't play any. So Colgate is the mystery box of this league. Winthrop might be good, but gun to my head, for some sick kidnapper who makes this be a challenge to live, I would say there are no Cinderellas in this league, and hopefully the trigger does not get pulled.
Well, let's hope so. I think Baylor's got it favorable when it comes to that, especially when you compare to Illinois that has Loyola Chicago to deal with. When it comes to Cinderellas in this bracket overall, though, when I look across the way and I see a UCSB team against Creighton, or even Ohio against a depleted Virginia team, Eastern Washington against depleted Kansas, UNC Greensboro against Florida State, who struggled against smaller teams. Who are your Cinderellas of this bracket that you think could make a run to the Elite Eight or further?
Sure. It's the first two teams you named that I think could make the Sweet 16 pretty easily. Creighton with the Greg McDermott controversy about the plantation. I don't think Greg McDermott is, I think he just misspoke. But I got to tell you, if I'm UCSB, I'm making burner account after burner account this week on Twitter and just tweeting out, this is so racist, this is awful, and fight up the Creighton locker room with what has happened. I think Ohio has a real advantage against Virginia. Even if Virginia was healthy, they only lost to Illinois by 2 points in November, and they have dropped like 35 points on Illinois that might be the best player in that game overall. And that's sometimes what I look at for Cinderella matchups is who's the best player just in the game. When Missouri was a 2 seed back in 2012, turned out some dude named Kyle O'Quinn, who played for Norfolk State, was the best NBA player in that game. So when I look for Cinderella games, I look for that. Who might be the best player or the NBA player in the game? And if they're on the Cinderella team, that's I look to take in those matchups. So Winthrop, UCSB, Ohio are my teams that I think could do it. And then I think Loyola of Chicago, if we count them as a Cinderella, can you go to the ball twice if you're Cinderella? Can you go to 2 proms if you're Cinderella? I think Loyola of Chicago has a real chance to make the Elite Eight.
Who do you see that is a Cinderella that folks are already picking that may be fraudulent? So an example that I mentioned at the top of the show, Georgetown. I don't think Georgetown gets past Colorado. Is there somebody like that you're looking at right now and you think, all right, folks, this is way too hyped up. There's just no way.
Yeah, so I would agree certainly with that one. First, can Georgetown even really be a Cinderella prestige they have, and that Georgetown seems to have been involved in this American war to happen or not happen over the last 50 years, not to get political, good or bad. I'm not saying if they were good or bad. I'm just saying that can you be the Cinderella if you have started or stopped most wars America's fought over the last 50 years? I say no. So I don't think so. I don't know that there are any other Cinderellas that I think are just crazy picks beyond that. I don't think Georgetown really has much of a shot. And then, I don't really have any hot takes beyond that one. I think they don't have much of a shot. USC I have in the Elite Eight. But I think Wichita State or Drake could beat them just because USC is so inconsistent. I trust no one in the Pac-12, even though I think the Pac-12 would be the most fun league to play in because I trust no one out there.
Kendall, in the past 5 years, we have seen the years of parity, like the 2017s, and we've seen the years like 2019 where I was just like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of how this was supposed to go. Do you think this is the year of parity, and I know I kind of alluded to this earlier talking about the big teams, but when you're drawing out your bracket, or do you have the 7 or 10 first round upsets, or are you looking at a year where things pretty much go like they should?
I'm looking at a lot of chalk when we get to the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight. I think there will be a decent number of upsets in those first games. I think that Ohio is going to beat Virginia. I have UCSB over Creighton, and I think there could be a couple more of those kind of upsets. If Kansas has more players that contract COVID, I would start thinking about taking Eastern Washington. So I think the first 2 days we'll have quite a few upsets, and we'll think this is the Cinderella story again. But I think once that first weekend ends, we'll look at the bracket and say, oh, all of the 2 seeds are still around, and 3 of the 4 1 seeds are around. It's not looking like Ohio has much more of a journey.
One of the other things that I'd like to get your thoughts on, Kendall, I mentioned at the top of the show, I think if Baylor makes it all the way to the Final Four, I don't see them losing that semifinal game. I think they have punched their ticket to the national championship if they get to that last four. Is that something, A, that you see Baylor even doing, making a Final Four, and B, if so, do they go to the title game?
So I do have them making the Final Four. I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to get their defensive issues turned around. I think they just shoot so well from three that they'll be favored in all of these matchups coming up. I think if they play Illinois, they would still be favored in that game. They beat them by 12 points in November. The one difference, I think Illinois will do a much better job stopping all of those lobs that Jonathan Tchamwa-Tchatchoua got the first time. But I still think that Kofi Cockburn, as much as Illinois wants to tell people that he can now defend ball screens, the reality is that although the Big Ten, I think top to bottom, is better than the Big 12, the athleticism in that conference is not quite what it is in the Big 12. I think they'll just put Kofi Cockburn in ball screen after ball screen and beat him. And I think if they play Oklahoma State again, there's a site called Shot Quality that I know your listeners are probably familiar with, Drake, but it's a site where they look at where do you take shots on the floor and what percentage are you likely to win the game based on those shots. Baylor was given a 68% chance. I think it might have been 65, but they were given plus 60% of winning that game against Oklahoma State. They just missed a lot of threes, and they still made a lot of defensive mistakes to even get Oklahoma State up to about 35%. So I think in round 4, Baylor would win that game. So there's not anybody in that side of the bracket beyond Houston I would be pretty afraid of. Even against Houston, I'd make Baylor a slight favorite, but Houston is the team I think would present the biggest challenge for Baylor.
Kendall, before we let you get out of here, I want to know what are the things that maybe we haven't covered so far that really stand out to you just at first glance, less than 24 hours since this bracket was released. What are the storylines that you're looking forward to?
I think you've done a great job with everything. I think the biggest storyline will be if Gonzaga blows through everybody that first weekend, how do they react in that second weekend when they get more of a test in that Sweet 16 game or that Elite 8 game? Knowing they've already played Iowa in the past, that'll be unique. But I think if Oregon can advance to the Sweet 16, that's when Gonzaga should start getting scared because that's a team they played before. And the last time we saw Gonzaga play competence, they got down against BYU. And if Jalen Suggs can't hero them to victory, Gonzaga might be vulnerable. I have them in the Final Four, but I think Gonzaga needs to get tested at some point because they have not had much of a test. And that first time they faced one, it didn't go that great. And BYU, I believe, is overseeded as a 6.
And Kendall, Bear Games questions of the day today. Question number 1, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Baylor makes it to a Final Four?
Ooh, I would say a 6.
Wow. That's more than I would have said. So I'm sure the listeners will take that without a doubt. And not only that, one that has kind of been thrown around. It's a question that I had. Virginia proved against UMBC that a 1 seed can lose. So Baylor's not out of the woods yet in round 1. And the question is, would you rather your team win the NIT championship or lose in round 1 of the NCAA tournament?
If it is not the 116 game, I would always say lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament because if you win the NIT, you both kind of start celebrating it because you feel good you've won all the games, but then you got to deal with all of the trolling online about it. So absent 116, I would always say that. But if it's the 116, I would rather make the NIT because I can tell you, if you lose the 116 game, it doesn't matter what you talk about. 30 years down the line, they're going to mention this. So that's the only time I take the NIT. But at the risk that I think no one else will be Virginia 2.0 for at least another 20 years, I'm going to say lose the first round of the NCAA tournament. But God, I hope Baylor doesn't do it because I can't handle the trolling.
Oh my gosh, it would be endless for years and years to come. Kendall Kaut, our Daily Bears, thanks so much for joining the show and breaking things down across this bracket. This is March. It's going to be madness.
Heck yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Drake.
Absolutely. Again, that was Kendall Kaut, our Daily Bears, joining the show talking about all things Baylor men's basketball as they walk into the NCAA tournament against the Hartford Hawks, the first in the American East after winning their conference tournament. Mind you, Hartford was the 4 seed in that tournament coming into it. UMBC, who knocked off the 16 seed UMBC, who knocked off Virginia not too long ago. They are in the same conference. Both of those teams in the American East. Hartford was the 4 seed coming into that tournament. They knocked off Binghamton in round 1, knocked off Albany in round 2, upset Vermont in round 3 by 6. Who saw that coming? And then Hartford knocked off UMass Lowell 64-50 in the championship. That's a 6 seed. The 4 seed and the 6 seed met in the tournament championship of that in what looks like the same gym as my high school. They're comparable, without a doubt. Scores in those games, Hartford put up 77, 83, 71, and 64. So it's a team that can score. They have a really solid player, top 150 recruit, as Kendall talked about. And it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for Baylor. Listen, when we come back from this break, we'll have Matthew Postins join the show. He's going to break things down across this bracket in Big 12 play. There are 7 teams in the field from the Big 12 competing. Oklahoma could see Gonzaga in round 2. A team like West Virginia could make a run to the Final Four and face Gonzaga. Baylor, obviously, as good as they are, they could meet Texas Tech in the Elite 8. Tech is a 6 seed this season. On the bottom side with Illinois, Oklahoma State, and Cade Cunningham, they could make a run as well. Matthew Postins is going to help us break all of that down. Later on in the show, we're overlooking the fact that the Baylor Lady Bears are conference tournament champions. They are queens of the Big 12 yet again. It happens. I mean, it's annual at this point. It is just every year. Baylor is going to win a Big 12 championship on the women's side, if not regular season tournament, and most years both. This year it was both again as they knocked off West Virginia. We'll hear from Kim Mulkey and Queen Egbo after that win. Tonight as well, the selection show in women's basketball. We'll find out where Baylor lands. Likely to be a 2 seed. Guaranteed almost a 2 seed. We'll see their path to a possible Final Four for Kim Mulkey and company. And again, we'll hear from them later on. We'll break more of that down tomorrow. And still talking all things NCAA tournament, March Madness. The bracket is out, and things are about to get crazy because this is March. Speaking of this right here, everything you see, everything the lights touch, this is Uptempo.
It's officially time for March Madness as all 68 teams are set and headed to Indianapolis, with the Baylor Bears, the 1 seed in the South region, meet the 16-seed Hartford Hawks on Friday at 2:30. Outside of Baylor, the Big 12 had a nation's best 70% of teams make the big dance, with Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, and Oklahoma State joining Baylor as 4 seeds or higher. On the women's side, the Lady Bears are conference tournament champions again after a 76-50 drubbing of West Virginia and Kansas City. Kim Mulkey and company await their bracket release that takes place tonight. In baseball, the Bears have done it again. Baylor has notched 8 straight victories after sweeping a 3-game series against Xavier with a run differential of 28-7 combined. In softball, the Lady Bears are red hot after sweeping a 4-game tournament at Grand Canyon University and knocking off number 9 Arizona State 7-2 in Tempe. Baylor has now won 11 of its last 12. In track, Casey Lightfoot cements his name as the best indoor pole vaulter in NCAA history after winning an indoor national championship in Fayetteville. Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller also won individual national titles in their respective events over the weekend. And the women's tennis team opened up conference play with a 7-0 win over West Virginia. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84 and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrap fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese, and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrap fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or wacocustommarketplace.com.
I got breaking news here. We got Western Athletic Conference just announced they're adding several schools.
The WAC.
The WAC.
Okay. Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
I think Coach Gundy would be like my guy that I would just like just the hair. Yeah. I just want to be able to see it flow when I kind of slam his arm down.
Here's Drake Toll.
All right, welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Drake Toll, alongside Armstrong Sims. Matthew Postins joining the show to talk NCAA March Madness. And Matthew Postins is coming in hot right here with some breaking news. Matthew, what were you just saying?
I'm sorry sorry to tell you you've lost your head coach. Wikipedia already has Scott Drew at Indiana.
Oh, so, my goodness.
I know this got to put you guys in a bind going into the tournament, not having a head coach, but I'm sure Jerome Tang's got it all under control. So Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Matthew, I'm sorry. We're going to have to end the Zoom call and start calling literally everyone because how are we even going to begin to cover that? What a bombshell that would be.
Oh, yeah. It's, of course, obviously Indiana parted ways with their coach this morning.
Yeah.
You're already hearing from Jeff Goodman that, 2 coaches I would talk to, and Jeff's got a really good point. One would be Scott Drew. The other would be Chris Beard at Texas Tech. Obviously, both have done great work at their programs. The thing about Scott Drew is we all know he's an Indiana guy.
Yeah.
He was a student manager at Butler. He served as an assistant coach under his dad for 10 years at Valpo. He was the head coach there for 1 year at Valparaiso before he came to Baylor. So it's interesting. That's this time of year, though. But don't expect anything to happen for a while. I think Baylor fans are hoping let's just stay in the tournament as long as possible so we don't have to talk about this.
Yeah. I also, if you're Indiana, don't expect Scott Drew to go to the Elite Eight or the Final Four for a while. Because, look, Scott Drew's great at rebuilding programs, but takes time. Chris Beard's their guy. They should certainly go after Chris Beard for a guy that's going to turn it around in 2 or 3 years. Rather than Scott Drew that does it the right way over the scale of 10. So that's my nugget for the Indiana administration. But right there, Archie Miller gone, which I am really surprised he didn't have more success at Indiana, more sustained success for Archie Miller. But Hopefully, maybe they go after a Rick Pitino or a Chris Beard. It seems like Scott Drew is, we've heard his name in other hats before. It seems like he's pretty safe at Baylor, one would hope, right, Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, he's been there nearly 20 years now. Yeah. He's had opportunities to go. His name has been mentioned in coaching searches plenty of times. I think everybody across the country knows the type of coach he is and knows what he can do with the program. He's not staying at Baylor because he's waiting for a certain job. I don't think. I think he's staying at Baylor because he likes it here. So, maybe Indiana comes with a Brinks truck worth of cash at the end of the season. And if they do, and if Drew goes, then he goes. But honestly, I think he's quite happy to stay where he is at Baylor. And, Indiana is a job that just hasn't been the same since Bobby Knight left. Yeah. And they've had a difficult time keeping recruits for whatever reason. I've been to Assembly Hall. I've been to Bloomington. It's a great place to go watch a basketball game. It's really a fantastic venue. But they're not the program they used to be. They've got a lot of pride up there, but I just don't see Scott Drew going anywhere, if we're just being honest.
Matthew, what is it? And this is a little bit away from where I wanted to start, but I'd like to get your thoughts on this. How long until there is you take that blue blood luster away from a coaching job, whether it be UCLA or Indiana or really like a UNLV even, as they were so good in the 90s. How long before you can stop being like, oh, it's a destination job because of the history?
That's a really good question. Because I look at blue bloods, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke. They've all had their little tribulations here and there, but they've all been relatively consistent. I think a job like Indiana, it's a great job within the state because Indiana is the signature basketball program in the state of Indiana. Everybody looks to that program. But to be honest, the last decade, Purdue's been better. Butler's been better. I don't think so. There is some luster off of that job. So I think, we're 20 years removed from Bobby Knight being fired unceremoniously from that job, and they've been to one Final Four, I believe, since then. It was Mike Davis taking them to the Final Four a year or two later, and Mike Davis was Bob Knight's top assistant at the time. Yeah. Since then, it's been, they've had difficulty getting into the NCAA tournament every year. They haven't won a Big Ten title that I can remember, and it's just not the job that it used to be. So maybe that time frame is anywhere from 10 to 20 years after your last Final Four or your last major success.
Well, Matthew, yesterday, we're less than 24 hours since the NCAA Tournament March Madness bracket was released, and we were remarking earlier on the show, this is the first time in 2 years since we've held a physical March Madness bracket in hand and got to talk about the field of 68. When you first take a glance at this bracket, what stands out immediately?
What stands out to me from a Big 12 standpoint is just the committee did a nice job of making sure none of these teams can meet each other until the Elite Eight, which I like and which they're supposed to do. But, every year you see an anomaly here or there. They've got them all, I think, seeded reasonably well. I think Oklahoma State is a little underseeded, and I think that Texas Tech might be a bit overseeded. But I think everybody else is kind of where they should be. And also, I think Kansas got the easiest road to the Sweet 16. I think they got a really generous bracket. Not that they're not deserving of being a 3 seed, but just the teams that are with them in their pod. Those are all teams they're capable of beating. And they probably needed that break, given the fact that we know Jalen Wilson now won't be playing in the first game against Eastern Washington. David McCormick and Tristan Enaruna didn't make the trip to Indianapolis, although they're hopeful they'll join them by the time they play later this week. So they're shorthanded. So the break for them might be for naught if they're not at full strength by the time they get into the second round.
With this bracket, Big 12 teams, you talked about Texas Tech maybe a little bit overseeded. When it comes to Oklahoma, 15-10 this year, and we were talking about Oklahoma as a 2 seed when you were on the show 3 or 4 weeks ago, and things have just fallen apart since then. What are the odds, though, that they're able to knock off Missouri and give Gonzaga a run for its money?
I think Missouri's a pick'em game. Honestly, I mean, 8-9 games to me are pick 'em. Just decide which team you like the best. The thing about Oklahoma, and we talked about this last week going into the Big 12 tournament, and the way they played the Big 12 tournament kind of backed it up. They're losing close games, but they're playing well. Aside from that first half against Kansas in the quarterfinal game, they've played well in every game they've lost the last couple of weeks. But they've got to find a way to close the deal. I think they can do that against Missouri because Missouri actually hasn't beaten a team that is in the bracket in a month. So they're good, but Oklahoma has wins over ranked teams during that time. So I think I'm giving a slight edge to Oklahoma. And then, of course, like you said, they've got to play Gonzaga in the next round unless Norfolk State or Appalachian State can just do something completely off the charts crazy, which I just don't think is going to happen. The thing about Oklahoma against Gonzaga is they do have a little bit more size than some of the other Big 12 teams do to match up with the Gonzaga inside. And I think their guards could keep up with Gonzaga's guards for maybe 20, 30 minutes. But Gonzaga is so good this year across the board with that starting five that while I think it would be a close game at half, maybe halfway into the second half, I think Gonzaga would find a way to pull away. So Oklahoma could challenge them and push them, but I don't see them upending them and getting into the Sweet 16.
Outside of Oklahoma, Gonzaga, that possible matchup in round two, even Oklahoma, if they may not get past Missouri. When you look at Baylor on the other side with Hartford in round one, Matthew, I know you're a big Hartford guy, quite the expert, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's in Connecticut, right?
I think it's Hartford, Connecticut, although sometimes those schools are weird about their names and where they are and what. I think it's Hartford, Connecticut, but it's a team that's a 4 seed out of the American East. We don't know a ton about them. We're finding out more and more by the hour, really. With that, though, I don't see Baylor struggling round one. I'm sure. I hope you agree. But then round two, North Carolina, Wisconsin. Again, a pick 'em in an 8-9, but it seems like whoever wins that, they've got the history, even the recent history. Both of those teams have played in the national championship in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I looked at that part of the bracket and I was like, that second round game is interesting. North Carolina is playing better now than they were a month ago, and we were talking about them being a bubble team or maybe a play-in 11 seed team a month ago, and now they ended up being comfortably in the field. So they're playing better. They always seem to play well in the tournament, no matter how good or how bad they might be in a particular year. You're absolutely right about Wisconsin. They're that team from the Big Ten that gets in every year, and whoever they play, they give trouble to. It doesn't matter if they're a 1 seed or a 5 seed or a 9 seed. They're just trouble for whoever they play because they play a really physical style of ball that doesn't always, go along with who they're playing in the tournament. So, that's not the easiest road for me. I think Kansas has the easiest road to the Sweet 16. I think Baylor can get there, but I think that second round game is probably going to be a bit more challenging than I think some might expect it to be.
When you look at the other 8-9 games, Oklahoma, Missouri, OU at any point in time, they got Brady Manick and Austin Reeves. Either of those guys get hot, especially if both of them get hot, they're dangerous. Then on the other side, you've got LSU St. Bonaventure. LSU just took Alabama to the wire in the SEC championship game. Loyola Chicago is a favorite for some people to go to the Final Four again for some reason. And then Georgia Tech on the other side of that, Josh Pastner is a great, great coach. And that team just won the ACC. Did Baylor somehow, as tough as this looks, maybe get the easiest round two matchup out of any 1 seed?
I don't think it's the hardest. I think you look at Illinois playing either Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech. I think that has the potential to be a harder matchup. And certainly Michigan, especially if LSU beats St. Bonaventure, that could end up being the hardest 1-8 in the second round if things fall to form because LSU has that tremendous freshman, Cameron Thomas. They know how to score. They've had a rigorous schedule in the SEC and a rigorous schedule outside of the SEC too. So they're very deserving of being an 8 seed and being in the field. To me, that looks to me like, if Michigan wins and LSU wins, that probably ends up being the toughest 1-8 in the second round.
How about a West Virginia team that, we haven't mentioned yet? Morehead State in round one, which I don't think is a cakewalk at all. I think the 14-3 matchups in this bracket really, really intrigue me. And this is one of them that I think will be a good game, but I think West Virginia's got a real shot to make, if not an Elite Eight, a Final Four even. You know, I the way that I see this shaking out, especially if Illinois ends up going down in an upset prior to the Elite Eight, what are the odds West Virginia goes all the way to the Final Four to meet Baylor in a semifinal? I like them to get to the Sweet 16. I feel like they have one of the easier roads. Yeah. Morehead State's a good team, but I feel like West Virginia has the goods to beat them in a 3-14 game. And then the other side of that bracket is San Diego State and Syracuse. Syracuse kind of snuck in. I mean, they're a good team, but as long as you can defend Buddy Boeheim, you're in good shape. San Diego State's a good offensive team. They struggled with Utah State in the Mountain West Championship game until they pulled it out. So I think West Virginia has the capability of beating all three of those teams. I think they're teams they match up with well. And then you look at the bottom half of the bracket, Houston, Clemson, most likely to get out of the bottom half of that side of the Midwest bracket. It could be a West Virginia-Houston Sweet 16 game, and that would be a lot of fun to watch because Houston's a tremendous offensive team. Kansas transfer, Quentin Grimes, is playing for the Cougars. He's had a great season. I think there's a potential pathway for them to get to the Elite Eight. Whether or not they play Illinois or not in that game, I haven't dove that far into the bracket, but wouldn't it be fun to see Illinois and Oklahoma State get on one side and West Virginia and, say Houston or Clemson get in on the other side and end up with a potential fourth rematch between West Virginia and Oklahoma State? Man, I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up happening. A player like Cade Cunningham, that's what seems to be the difference maker so many times in March. I remember back to the Buddy Hield days at Oklahoma when they made that run. It felt like Buddy Hield was the forefront of that. When you have one player who is an NBA all-star caliber player, then that's going to really help you, and that's going to help a lot of these Cinderella teams that are trying to make runs. When you look at this bracket and think of a Cinderella team, maybe a 9 seed or worse that could go all the way to the Elite Eight, maybe even further than that, who are you looking at to be that team that sneaks up on somebody?
I like Georgetown as a 12 seed.
Really?
They went into the Big East tournament and they beat people up. They played like the Georgetown teams in the 1980s that I grew up watching on ESPN. And of course, their head coach is Patrick Ewing, so that's what you would expect. But they're also scoring at a high level right now and defending well. And they've got a lot of momentum coming into the tournament. When you look at their first-round game, Colorado, I watched Colorado in the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon State. Colorado's beatable for them. That's a winnable game. And then their next game might be against Florida State. I watched the Florida State game with Georgia Tech. That's a winnable game for them, too. I could see them getting into the Sweet 16 and then playing maybe a Michigan. That might be where it ends for them. But I think they're a team that's very capable of winning both of their first weekend games as a 12 seed, getting into the Sweet 16, and then, momentum's a funny thing in the NCAA tournament when you get that far and you're a double-digit seed. Sometimes crazy things start to happen.
Matthew, I'm not sure if you picked out a bracket yet, but looking at the Big 12 teams and where they all sit, what their paths would look like, do you still think the Big 12's got a real shot to get 5, maybe 6 teams into the Sweet 16?
I think 5 is their ceiling. I think you got to take Oklahoma out of the conversation. I wouldn't count on them getting to the Sweet 16. Texas Tech has an interesting road because I think they're capable of winning their first-round game, but their second-round game is going to be against either Arkansas or Colgate, and both of those teams score a lot of points. And those are the kinds of games where Texas Tech struggles. They're really good defensively, but their offense isn't always consistent. So they would have to have a game where they really just play those teams really tooth and nail defensively and keep that a low-scoring game. If they could do that, they could win. Outside of that, the other 5 teams, I think they all have potential paths to the Sweet 16. I'm not a big fan of Texas's path because Abilene Christian's a solid low-major team.
Yeah.
After that, it's, BYU, or hi, Michigan State, or hi, as you were talking about earlier, UCLA. Those are good teams. It's not an easy road for them to get to the Sweet 16, but I think they can get there. I think Oklahoma State's got a reasonable road. I think those are all winnable games for them in the first and second round. So I think 5 is their ceiling at this point. If 6 get in, that would be the first time since the ACC did it in 2016, and that would honestly be a mild surprise to me.
Yeah. How about when you look at Elite Eight and Big 12 teams you think could legitimately make an Elite Eight? Are there any A locks or B teams that you just really like to go that far?
nobody's a lock in this tournament, especially this year, especially since everybody's going to be in basically the same place and nobody's going to be traveling because everything's going to be in the state of Indiana. I think that changes the dynamic of this a little bit because you don't have like West Virginia going to San Diego to play 2 first round games in the East region and then come back to say New York City the next week to play in a Sweet 16 and an Elite 8. So that kind of changes the dynamic of this a little bit. But, I got a piece up on the site, or it'll be up later today, where I kind of gauge everybody's odds of getting to the Sweet 16 because that's really the first step. You got to get out the first weekend. But if you look at the Elite 8 or even the Final Four, I think Baylor has a really good shot. Even though they bowed out of that Big 12 tournament in the semifinals, I still think they're a really, really good team. I think they've got the capability of doing it. Texas is on an upswing. We haven't talked too much about the forward momentum they've built the last few weeks. But I think them putting Kai Jones in the starting lineup moving forward, I think that's going to make a big difference for them because there aren't many teams in this tournament that can match their guard play and their 2, forwards inside, Jericho Sims being 6'9", Kai Jones being 6'11". And then Oklahoma State, you talked about Cade earlier. I think some people are going to start making Davidson comparisons with Stephen Curry. Let's understand something. The supporting cast around Cade Cunningham is better than the supporting cast around Stephen Curry at Davidson. I had a lot of folks hitting me up on Twitter and texting me during the Oklahoma State championship game at Texas saying, wow, I can't believe these guys are around him are that good. And I'm like, well, this has been building for 2 months because Cade has treated them like teammates the whole season and treated them like they can make those shots. Differences in late January, early February, where they weren't making those plays and making those shots, they're doing it now. And that's what makes them so dangerous going into the tournament. And then West Virginia, I think, has a really good chance of getting to the Elite 8 or the Sweet 16. I'm not bullish on Kansas getting out of the Sweet 16, in part because of their COVID issues, but also in part because they just don't have a lot of depth to begin with.
Matthew, you're way too early Final Four. And I say way too early because I probably won't pick my bracket, until Wednesday or Thursday. I guess Thursday now. The game's been pushed back and started a day later this year. Who right now, though, early on Monday afternoon, do you see making the Final Four?
Yeah, I wouldn't even attempt to lock in a bracket until after Tuesday at 5 because remember, the bracket isn't actually locked in until Tuesday at 5. We have 4 replacement teams waiting in the wings if somebody like a Kansas or a Virginia can't play. So the bracket's still a little fluid because of that. But I think Gonzaga's about as much of a lock to get to the Final Four in this tournament as any team. I just think they're a freight train right now, and I don't know how you stop their mix of guard play and inside play. So I'll take them in the West right now. In the South, I like Baylor. I like Ohio State too. I thought they showed a lot of moxie playing Illinois in that championship game. I wouldn't put it past Purdue to have a good run too in that region. But I'm going to go ahead and lock in Baylor as a way too early. In the East, I think Texas will get out of there. I know their path to get out of the Sweet 16 is tough, but I think once they get there, I'm not sure Michigan gets to the Elite 8 because LSU could upend them in the second round. I think Texas can match up well with Alabama. I think Florida State is probably a team that probably won't get to the Elite 8. I think that's going to be the region where everything kind of goes wonky, and you could see a 3 or a 4 or a 5 get out. So I think Texas may get out of the East. And then in the Midwest, I'm going to take Houston. I think offensively, they are just so good on that side of the basketball. They're going to overwhelm pretty much anybody in that bracket with the exception of Illinois. But I think Illinois is going to get, beat up quite a bit going through this tournament, that I think the offense for Houston is just going to overwhelm Illinois in that Elite 8 game. So Gonzaga, Baylor, Texas, and Houston.
Matthew, before we let you get out of here, Bear Games questions of the day. First and foremost, how confident are you that Baylor will? Now that's the word that changes the whole just scope of the sentence. How confident are you that Baylor will make a Final Four?
I'm about, looking at the bracket now, I would say I'm probably about 60% confident.
Wow, that's another 6 out of 10. You know what? I'll take it. I said probably 35, 40%, just because it's so much volatility and I don't want to get my hopes up and then just dreams crushed. I think that's probably more what it is. Yeah. Question number 2 for you, last one today. Would you rather your team win the NIT champions, or make the NCAA tournament and lose round 1?
For me, it's the NCAA tournament. My alma mater has been a few times, Stephen F. I remember the first time we went in 2010, they lost to Syracuse in the first round, but I was just still so completely psyched that they finally got there, that, going to the NIT, which we did the previous year. In fact, we played Stanford in Stanford and lost in the first round. Just getting to the NCAA tournament and losing in the first round just does not even compare to playing in the NIT, much less winning it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're the first person to say that. You're the first person on the show to say that you would rather. I think Armstrong would probably agree with that, though, too. We're going dancing. You want to go dancing always. Yeah, Matthew Postins, thanks for joining the show today, as always, from Heartland College Sports. Pleasure to have you on.
All right, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Once again, that was Matthew Postins, Heartland College Sports, talking everything Baylor, Big 12, bracket, March Madness, folks. How about this? The Baylor Lady Bears, another conference championship, knocking off West Virginia in blowout fashion on Sunday. We've got Kim Mulkey recapping the win and another Lady Bear Championships highlights and press conference bites coming up after this. This is Up Tempo.
It's officially time for March Madness, as all 68 teams are set and headed to Indianapolis, with the Baylor Bears, the 1 seed in the South region, meet the 16 seed Hartford Hawks on Friday at 2:30. Outside of Baylor, the Big 12 had a nation's best 70% of teams make the big dance, with Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, and Oklahoma State joining Baylor as 4 seeds or higher. On the women's side, the Lady Bears are conference tournament champions again after a 76-50 drubbing of West Virginia and Kansas City. Kim Mulkey and company await their bracket release that takes place tonight. In baseball, the Bears have done it again. Baylor has notched 8 straight victories after sweeping a 3-game series against Xavier with a run differential of 28-7 combined. In softball, the Lady Bears are red hot after sweeping a 4-game tournament at Grand Canyon University and knocking off number 9 Arizona State 7-2 in Tempe. Baylor has now won 11 of its last 12. In track, Casey Lightfoot cements his name as the best indoor pole vaulter in NCAA history after winning an indoor national championship in Fayetteville. Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller also won individual national titles in their respective events over the weekend. And the women's tennis team opened up conference play with a 7-0 win over West Virginia. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back to the Pickell Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside Armstrong Sims, and it's a happy Monday. A big Monday. The Baylor men's basketball team, 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, facing Hartford in round 1. And how about the Lady Bears, champions of the Big 12? Again, it happens all the time, but it never gets old, as they won on top of West Virginia on Sunday. That was yesterday. Wow, that was yesterday? Where has time gone? Wow. Baylor on top of West Virginia in the Big 12 tournament, and that marked...
What was yesterday?
Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah. I like how you were watching the Big Ten championship game, and you texted me onions, and then I was watching the players, and I was like, are you referring to Justin Thomas's drive on number 18? Because yes.
Yeah,
big time onions.
I wasn't. I was watching the Big 12 championship game. Baylor improves to 45-13 in the Big 12 championship all-time. Big 12 tournament all-time. Baylor improved to 44-9 under Kim Mulkey in the Big 12 championship. Jeez, they were 1-4 before Kim got here. Baylor's now 26-1 in Big 12 championships since 2011. Their only loss is that Texas loss we're not going to talk about. Baylor improved to 14-2 all-time in Big 12 championship semifinals. Baylor is 4-2 all-time versus Texas in the Big 12 championship tournament. And those coming off of wins against West Virginia for the title. Here are the highlights from Baylor, West Virginia on Sunday.
We've got the finale of an unforgettable weekend in Kansas City. It's the 1 seed Baylor taking on 2-seeded West Virginia. And it's time to play for a trophy. D.D. Richards controls the tip. Here we go. We'll see how it shakes up, but that's a really nice feed. KK Dean's blocked by D.D. Richards.
The National Defensive Player of the Year last year, and don't forget about her this year in that role.
And a good feed to Nalissa Smith. Carrington lines one up for 3, and Baylor hits. Here comes Dejanay Carrington. Lost it right to Egbo. And Moon Urson, are you kidding me? In the Big 12 championship final. Carrington. Oh my goodness, with the switch of the hands and the flip and the bucket. 5 to shoot. Pickell tucks it and lays it up and in.
That great win for West Virginia. She said, it's March, baby.
NaLyssa Smith, that is just outrageous.
Watch how she makes this cut. The screen against Ejiofor just rips it away from Hemingway. The fans cheering for Moon, and there she gets another.
Moon Urson and NaLyssa Smith out in front. Moon's going to take it herself and lay it up. Moon Urson rises up. NaLyssa Smith chasing, and 40 can still get it done. Moon Urson
helping these players stay healthy throughout the course of the season.
As we finish up here in Kansas City. Pickell for 3. They would win a national title later that year, their first of 3 to this point. 9 of the last 10 Big 12 championships belong to the Baylor Lady Bears.
One of the hottest teams in the country, and they'll find out where they land tonight. San Antonio is the destination of the field of 60. Oh, wow. Putting my basketball knowledge to the test. Is it 68 or 64 on the women's side? I'm going to assume it's 68, right? They probably do play-in games for the women, too. I'm going to assume it's yes. Someone help me out.
I actually don't.
I don't know. No. Why don't I know? I should know that. Cyber Bear says, when does Steve Prohm get the axe at ISU? Who's going to be the next hire? Sorry, ISU fans, but the Holberg ship has sailed. He ain't coming back. Yeah, Prohm's going to get the axe. Prohm's not going to be at Iowa State next year. Who they're going to hire? Not Scott Drew. Laser guns.
Archie Miller. He's available.
Archie Miller is available. Anthony Grant would be a great hire, too. I think Grant would be a great hire anywhere. I would hate for him to be in the Big 12. He's good. This from Kim Mulkey and Queen Egbo following their Big 12 championship win.
Kim, I guess just first off, when NaLyssa got in foul trouble, you brought her to the bench. Y'all actually went on a run and outscored them, took a 10-point lead into halftime. How big was that just to kind of, the other players to pick up the slack, I guess?
Well, honestly, you want all your players out there, and especially, a starter and player of the year. But we have depth, Jerry, and I wasn't surprised we, spread the lead. Pickell's got enough experience in minutes, and that's not a surprise. That just tells you that we're pretty good.
And Kim, y'all finished again on a really good note. I know you pay attention to those last minutes. I think y'all finished on a 12-0 run.
Well, I was absolutely proud of Sarah and Hannah and J.O. And, it's hard coming in there late. No matter if you have a lead or not, you want to do good. And they just had fresh legs and came in there and attacked in transition and finished shots. And, yes, that's how you want to finish a game.
Yeah, Queen, did this one mean a little bit more since y'all were playing for last year's seniors too?
Yeah, last year we didn't even have a chance to get on a plane and fly out here. So this year I was definitely kind of more appreciative and knowing that I can't take these little moments for granted. And every time and every minute I get on the floor, I have to make the most out of it. And so I feel like that's what I kind of did today.
And Kim, I wanted to ask you about, they only shot 27%. How good did you think your defense was today?
Well, John, I was just telling Queen as we were sitting here looking at the stat sheet prior to talking to you guys. I looked at the number of field goals we scored and the number of field goals that they scored. Listen, fatigue set in with both teams. And I'm not surprised because of the type of defense that both teams played the last, 2 days and then today. It happens. And we just were able to weather the fatigue. Where it really showed up for us was in turnovers. We got lazy with the ball. I thought for West Virginia, where the fatigue showed up was missed shots. They had some open looks and missed it. And we were trying to guard them, but they had some open looks that they normally make because they've got 4 scorers on that team that can score the basketball.
Kim, you said that this feeling never gets old. What this year makes this so much special compared to the other times that you've been able to do it?
I can think of a couple of reasons. One, what makes it so special is what Queen just said. This is her time to shine. This is Nalissa's time to shine. This is Moon's time to shine. And those who remain loyal to a program will reap the rewards. They've learned and they've battled to come and be the one in the spotlight. And then secondly, I feel for those 4 seniors. Those 4 seniors didn't get to do this, and they would have had an opportunity to cut down another net, maybe a national championship, because we felt like we had a team last year that could get to a Final Four in New Orleans. And I just can't get those 4 seniors out of my mind when we out there celebrating today.
And then, Queen, do you feel like you're kind of starting to peak and play your best ball just at the right time?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this is when you want to start, seeing results and seeing your hard work pay off. And I feel like this is what my team needs, and they need this on a consistent basis. And I feel like this is only going to make us better and make me better and make my teammates better when I'm playing well. But I feel like we're all starting to peak at the same time. Les is playing outstanding. Moon, Dejanay are playing outstanding. We have Didi who can do it all. So I just feel like we're all starting to come together as a team, and it's going well for us.
Hey, Queen, yesterday Moon talked about when she shoots the ball and she has a lot of confidence just because she knows if it doesn't go in, she has you and Nalissa right there. Just kind of reflect on that, how the presence of you two on the court just pick up the confidence of your teammates because they know you all will be there.
That's really nice of Moon to say. I work hard on being a really good rebounder, especially offensive rebounder. I feel like when Moon shoots the ball, I kind of know it's going in, but the few times she does miss, it's like I have to position myself well to get an offensive rebound and possibly put it back in or kick it out and get another shot. But having Liz there also helps, because if I don't get it, I know most likely she'll be there on the backside to get it too. And I feel like it's a good duo. We're athletic. We can both jump really high, and it's just it's a mismatch. I feel like when you have post players that can't really jump, and then you have post players who can.
And a quick follow-up for you, Coach, just kind of that same factor with Queen and Nalissa. What's that like, knowing that you have those 2 physical, very aggressive rebounders on your team, and they also have a leadership role as well?
Well, they're not just rebounders. Their role on this team is score the basketball. They have to defend. Rebounding is probably what a lot of people think of tall girls or tall women. We don't look at them for just rebounding. We depend on them to do a lot of things. They've got to help teammates defensively. They've got to go out some games and guard on the perimeter. And then they've got to turn around and go get the rebound. Block shots. This kid right here, she's unbelievable here. She's broken records since she's been here, not just rebounding, but just in blocking shots. And I don't know what game, Queen, what game was it? Was it the West Virginia game back home? I don't know. She blocks a shot on this side of the rim and turns around and rebounds the ball, on the other side of the rim. That's just athleticism. That's just a will to go do that. And in one possession, she did 2 great things.
All right, Chris.
Coach, you've won a lot of these, but obviously every team has a little bit different kind of feel to it. So what do you see as some of the defining characteristics of this year's team?
Finding their own identity, change of position, change in roles. You can't just go out there because you've been in the program for a year or 2 and expect, bam, we just pick up where we left off. Their roles have changed. Some have even changed positions, and that takes time to master, and not only to master, but to play together, to be on the same page. Where does Queen need the ball? Where does Nalissa need the ball? How are we going to defend this? It just takes playing together and experience.
And Coach, you have a week now before you play in the big tournament. What's the focus this week? What are some things you're going to have to fine tune and work on if you're going to make that run to the Final Four?
Well, we're tired right now. The first thing we need to do is rest. And we'll go back tomorrow, and they'll have the selection show on TV at 6 o'clock, and we'll have our little gathering in the Stone Room. Of course, the fans won't be there, but we'll have media obligations tomorrow. We'll have COVID testing tomorrow. And then I'm sure we have to leave Tuesday sometime and go be in a bubble for a week before we even play. Do you understand how hard that's going to be? And we're going to try to do everything we can to stay safe and healthy and give ourselves an opportunity to make a run here in the NCAA tournament. This will be like nothing I've ever experienced. We were here 4 days in a bubble, and I'm about to pull my hair out. So being in a bubble for a week, it's going to be tough. And then if you keep winning, you're going to just extend that bubble. It's I don't know, but we'll do the best we can. Guess I better go buy some books to read.
Tim Mulkey and company following the tournament championship win against West Virginia. They'll find out at 7 o'clock tonight where they are landing, and then Mulkey will meet with the media immediately after. And Jay Nolens was in class today. How crazy is that? Yesterday, wins a Big 12 championship. Monday morning, show up in class, standing O. Tomorrow, leave for St. Anne. I think it's a drive. You think they're going to fly or are they going to drive? Probably drive. They should probably drive.
If they fly, that's dumb.
They're silly geese. That's what they are. Because geese can fly. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. This is Up Tempo. Ding, ding, ding.
It's officially time for March Madness as all 68 teams are set and headed to Indianapolis, with the Baylor Bears, the 1 seed in the South region, meet the 16 seed Hartford Hawks on Friday at 2:30. Outside of Baylor, the Big 12 had a nation's best 70% of teams make the big dance, with Kansas, West Virginia, Texas, and Oklahoma State joining Baylor as 4 seeds or higher. On the women's side, the Lady Bears are conference tournament champions again after a 76-50 drubbing of West Virginia and Kansas City. Kim Mulkey and company await their bracket release that takes place tonight. In baseball, the Bears have done it again. Baylor has notched 8 straight victories after sweeping a 3-game series against Xavier with a run differential of 28-7 combined. In softball, the Lady Bears are red hot after sweeping a 4-game tournament at Grand Canyon University and knocking off number 9 Arizona State 7-2 in Tempe. Baylor has now won 11 of its last 12. In track, Casey Lightfoot cements his name as the best indoor pole vaulter in NCAA history after winning an indoor national championship in Fayetteville. Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller also won individual national titles in their respective events over the weekend. And the women's tennis team opened up conference play with a 7-0 win over West Virginia. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots. No, go find your own. Come on, give me some of your tots.
No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Brian, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
It's the best time of the year. It's like 80 degrees outside, 82. There's a little biker going by. Wave.
It's a pretty incredible time of year.
It's hot. The sun stays out for longer. The sun says, hey, daylight savings time? Sweet.
Hashtag never fall back. Hey, did you see that?
No, but I love the fallback.
No, you don't.
I do. I like it.
You like daylight savings time?
Yeah. What is this one called? Are they both just daylight savings time?
One of them is like, I think we're not in daylight saving time anymore. We were.
Oh. So the exit.
This is springing forward.
Right. Not fall back.
And so there's a movement right now to like hashtag never fall back.
I will say
they're proposing a bill.
Did you know it was happening?
I did, but that day.
Yeah, I didn't know until my clock went from 1:59 to 3, and I almost flipped. I flipped. I was like, no, I can't do this. Not now, Dad.
Yeah.
Didn't like that.
Didn't like that, yeah.
Didn't like that.
I adjusted pretty well, though.
Somebody's birthday is today. Guess what? There were some celebrities, and they were born today. A celebrity was born today. A star was born. Somewhere the Ides of March.
Beware the Ides of March.
Yes, beware of them. Today, though, somebody was born somewhere that will be famous one day. Right? Can we all agree on that?
I would agree with that.
All right, this day in birthday days, Lil Dicky's birthday is today, which is near and dear to my heart. I am a Lil Dicky fan.
Really?
Yep, rapper.
Okay. 32.
33.
Wow.
will.i.am, the rapper. Wow. Laser guns.
will.i.am is probably like 52.
will.i.am is 46 today. Why 52 is old? Tough one. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's birthday is today.
I'm going to say, she would have been like 92.
88. I thought she was older than that.
Yeah, same.
I thought she was older than that. Dead or alive, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Dead or alive, Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yeah, dead.
Jolly old St. Nicholas. It's his birthday today.
Like St. Nick.
Yeah.
I'm going to say like 800 years old or something.
You'd be wrong. 1,751.
Kind of close.
Jolly old St. Nicholas. Connor Ball. I think he's in the band, that one band.
That one band.
The One Direction.
Oh. 30?
25. Eva Longoria. Wasn't her birthday like 3 days ago? Pretty sure Eva Longoria was already on this list. Eva Longoria.
52.
Eva Longoria is 20. She's 46. She's 46. Give me Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson's birthday today.
Okay. I'm going to say maybe 200.
237. Big day for the Jackson family. Andrew Jackson would have been dead or alive. Andrew Jackson. Brett Michaels' birthday today. Brett Michaels. Is he alive? I didn't think he was alive.
70?
It's 58. Brett Michaels, 58. Mark McGrath. You know who Mark McGrath is?
No.
Okay. How old is he?
60.
53. This day in sports history, guess what happened?
Grand National?
Not a darn Grand National.
Dang it.
We are
out of Grand National season.
Out of Grand National season.
Dang it.
Cincinnati Red Stockings become the first professional baseball team in what year?
1863.
'Twas the summer of
69.
1869. Yep.
Really?
Yep. Commencement of the first Test cricket, Australia versus England at the MCG, Melbourne, Australia.
1912.
1877. Pitcher Cy Young.
So old.
I know. Pitcher Cy Young retires from baseball with 511 wins, which is stupid high.
I don't know. 1924.
Same year Titanic sunk.
1912.
1912. Nice job off the dome. NFL St. Louis Cardinals officially moved to Phoenix.
1993.
1988. Patrick Chan of Canada wins the men's 2013 World Figure Skating Championships.
2020.
2013.
Dang it.
And SEC men's basketball tournament, Kentucky beats Arkansas in the 56th championship game, 78-63.
2017.
15. Oh, caught me off guard. You know what time it is.
Later, guys.
That's all we have today. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. And this whole 3 hours, it's all been up-tempo. We're going to do it again tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We got an all-star cast of guests. Come back and see us 11 a.m. tomorrow. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. This right here has been Up-Tempo.